What's going on, guys? Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to #AskGSM here today for Tuesday, February 24th, 2026. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Hope you guys are doing well. This is episode 639 of #AskGSM here today. We're going to be answering your questions in a little bit that you sent in previously from Facebook, X, and YouTube, and also reading the chat here momentarily. If you have any issues hearing me by any chance, I know last week we started off the show with some audio issues. I think we should be good. I tested it before we went live. I did that last week too when we still had problems. We should be flying high today. We should be doing well. I say flying high as if we're getting like fucking high here on the stream. We're not. I can promise you I'm completely sober. I've never touched this stuff in my life. But nonetheless, we're going to get going here today. Hope you guys are doing well and having a great week so far, following a newsworthy Raw, to say the least, and maybe not necessarily for the right reasons. There were some good things that happened on the show. By and large, though, I logged into X after the show last night, and I didn't really think much of the show. We'll get to it later on, but so a lot of negative feedback, and most of it, quite honestly, is not unjustified. We'll get into that in a little bit. So thank you guys so much for tuning in live here today. I appreciate it. Let me just run through some quick housekeeping stuff before we get going with the chat and whatnot. I will pull up the chat here momentarily. Want to shout out the channel members real quick. Alexis, Miss Maud Matthews, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel, Malcolm, at I'm Quarter on X, at Swerve1 on IG, that is DJ Swerve1, Mr. Marceau himself, at RJ_Marceau on X, John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube, Richie Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube, and Average Grunt at gruntwrestling.bluesky.social on Blue Sky. More information and how to become a WrestleRant All Access Pass channel member down below. $5 a month gets you badges and emojis and the live chats for these very videos. You also get top billing on #AskGSM and WrestleRant Radio. You also get early and ad-free access to certain videos. So yesterday's WrestleRant ranks went up early and ad-free a few hours early for channel members. And tomorrow's episode of #GSM for GM, I might put up early tonight before it goes up tomorrow for everyone else. So if you want to get that access early and ad-free before anyone else, be sure to jump on that WrestleRant All Access Pass membership down below in the description box. If you want to send in a question to this very show for me to answer on next week's episode, you can do so by tweeting me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the #AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.GSM.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video. I'll include your question in next week's edition. If you are joining us live, first of all, thank you. Second of all, or watching after the fact, also appreciated. Be sure to like this video. It helps out the video. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on notifications to be notified every time we do go live, every time we upload new content. All that stuff, like I just said, greatly appreciated. And I do apologize for going a little bit later here today than usual. Typically, we're live around 11 a.m., noon. I had to do an interview about an hour and a half ago. Actually, really about an hour ago. I still have a lot of stuff I'm backed up on, a lot of reviews I still have to do on WrestleRant.com. All of that will be uploaded and written in due time, so bear with me. It's been a very busy past month or two. But, yeah, did an interview about an hour ago. I don't think I can upload the audio. It was a video. It was over Zoom. Not sure I can upload it here on the channel quite yet. So, it was the same people that hooked me up with Jack Hughes, actually. I spoke to Jack Hughes, now an Olympic gold medalist, standout player on the New Jersey Devils in the NHL. Great player, young kid, very bright future, already has had an accomplished career. The cover star of fucking NHL 25, I'm pretty sure. But spoke to him a few weeks ago before the Olympics, talking about some Mucinex campaign and stuff like that. Could not upload the video here to the channel. I might in due time. Can't do it right now. But I did share the news about it on social media last week. And then literally days later on Sunday, he scored the game-winning goal. The game-winning goal. Sorry, the game-winning goal for Team USA in the Olympics. Team USA's first Olympic gold medal in hockey, men's hockey, since 1980, since the Miracle on Ice game, 46 years ago. So, and I just happened to interview that guy like a fucking couple of weeks ago. So check out the article. It's up on Bleacher Report. I shared it on X and Facebook and fucking Instagram and shit. The audio/interview of that interview I hope to upload at some point down the road. I was specifically instructed not to. Sometimes there's like a window on this sort of stuff where they just don't allow you to upload it separately unless it's part of the article, which is completely understandable. But I am hoping to upload a lot more interviews I've conducted in years past that are not here on the channel for one reason or another. Keep an eye out for those, and if you're subscribed, you'll get them before anyone else. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pull up the chat as we always do. And let me do that here. Bam. I know I saw a lot of comments in the chat, so I'll try to get through everything here as quickly as possible so we can kind of catch up to real time. Johnny, what's going on, brother? Answering today's question of, is WWE eventually going to be forced to be sold by TKO? He says maybe. He also says greed is more rampant than ever before across the board. Very true. Eric, what's going on, brother? He said, is Grant still on site at the NFL Combine? Eric, I will have you know a couple things. You started a meme, not only here on the channel. We have a lot of memes here on WrestleRant, but you started the Grant Matthews. That is my alter ego, Grant Matthews, out there doing the sports coverage. He was the one that talked to an athlete for an interview about an hour ago. He was also the one that spoke to Jack Hughes. He was on site at the Olympics, on site at the NFL Combine, rather. And Eric, thank you. You redeemed yourself by calling me Grant for so long. Grant knows who Mosby is. Mosby? What's the name? What was the fucking name? Max Crosby, not Mosby. That's Sweet Life of Zach and Cody. Max Crosby. I don't know who that is. Grant Matthews does. If you don't know who I'm talking about, then if you don't know the joke, then you got to go back and listen to WrestleRant Radio from last Thursday. Johnny also said, great video yesterday. Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that. Like I just said, went up early for WrestleRant Pass, All Access Pass subscribers, all the members. But that was the addition of No, actually, I'm sorry. That was, no, we did go up early. It did go up early. I'm thinking, what the fuck is today? Today's Tuesday. What was yesterday's video? That was all of the non-Elimination Chamber matches I ranked. So like the Wyatt family versus The Shield, John Cena versus Kevin Owens, The Rock versus CM Punk, all non-Elimination Chamber matches that happened at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. I ranked yesterday on WrestleRant Rank. So go back and check out that video from yesterday's installment. Johnny said, what is your favorite match at the Elimination Chamber event of all time, regardless of match type? All right, so going off of that same question, or that same comment, it probably, at the Elimination Chamber event itself, it probably would be The Shield versus the Wyatt family. If we're including the Elimination Chambers matches themselves, I love the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match from the 2017 Chamber pay-per-view. That was the SmackDown show where Bray Wyatt won the title. I just thought that was a great fucking Chamber match. My favorite Chamber, period, is the 0-2 one that Shawn Michaels won at Survivor Series. The very first one. That's still my favorite. I rewatched the 2011 Chamber show on the 15-year anniversary on Friday. I really like that show too. I've always been fond of that show. There's some stuff on it in retrospect that really wasn't all that good. But the two Chamber matches were great. The SmackDown one specifically, I love. So my top 3 favorite Chamber matches might be just matches that happen at the event regardless of match type. Shield versus Wyatt family, 2011 SmackDown Chamber match, Cena Owens might be my top 3 from 2015. And then the 2017 SmackDown Elimination Chamber match. Nothing from 2018, nothing from 2019, nothing from 2020 or 2021. 2022 was fine. Becky and Lita happened Elimination Chamber in 2022 in Saudi. That was a great match. I talked about that yesterday. Roman and Sammy, also a great match. The Elimination Chamber match that night with the men was also excellent. So, and I was at that show. That was the one and only Chamber show I've been to. So there's a lot of them. There's a lot of them. Roman and Sammy is not my favorite, but being there for that moment and match was incredible, even though Roman won as he should have. But the men's Chamber was also great. One of the best, if not the best, wrestling weekend I've ever taken. And I've talked about that before. Fernando said last night was one of the worst Raws of the Triple H era. I've seen a lot of people say that. Like, of the Triple H era dating back the last 4 years, it very well may have been. I was not thinking that actively while watching it, but kind of allowing it to digest in the last 12 hours or whatever. It did leave me thinking, yeah, that first of all, it was not a great show. I never thought it was a good show. It was definitely the weakest Raw of the year. Of the Triple H era, it very well might be, but I don't really think that speaks to the quality of last night's show. That more so speaks to the quality of all the other Raws that he delivered from 2022 onward. So I don't know if it was the worst. I don't think I would go so far as to say it was the worst, but was it one of the weakest Triple H Raws to date? It very well probably was. I would have to think about that some more and really think about some of the, boring Raws that we were getting at various points in the last few years. But it would probably have to be up there. Last night was not a great effort overall. Johnny said the best string of pay-per-views in WWE history is the Rumble 01, No Way Out 01, and WrestleMania 17. Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, there's been a couple of different stretches of really strong shows, 2000 included. The problem with 2000 is that Mania that year was not good. I don't look back at SummerSlam as being the stellar show, but like Fully Loaded 2000 was a great show. No Way Out. The Rumble I remember being a very good show overall, but like Mania was not. Still, the quality in 2000 overall was excellent. 01 kind of went, and Backlash 01 was also great. I mean, you can include that too. I know you just said Rumble through Mania, but you can include Backlash, and that was another great show that year. Judgment Day 2000 was the year prior, but that was a great show as well. Johnny said NXT had a classic string of takeovers in 2018 with Philly, New Orleans, Chicago 2, Brooklyn, and War Games. And you know what's funny? I was at I was at 3 of those shows. I was at the Philly takeover that year, Chicago takeover that year, and the Brooklyn takeover that August. I was not at Mania weekend, and I was not at the War Games one, but I was at 3 of those 5 takeovers, and they were all great. I mean, really, you could say the stretch of NXT shows from like fucking 2014 through 2018, 2019, and you wouldn't be wrong. But for a specific stretch of takeovers, in 2018, they were on fire. They were doing some great takeovers at that point. A very magical period in the history of that brand. The best string of PLEs in a row under Triple H is Mania 39, Backlash Puerto Rico, and Night of Champions Saudi Arabia. You might be right. I don't know if that's accurate. Mania 39 was great. Backlash that year was great. I might even go to 2024 because Night of Champions was a really good show. I don't think people would remember that as being the stellar show, though. It was a good show. It paled in comparison pretty considerably to the other two that you mentioned. In 2024, Mania 40 was overall excellent. Backlash was fucking awesome. You could say a lot of the shows from that period, I would say. Mania, Backlash, you got fucking SummerSlam that year in 2024 was great. I would say that's probably Triple H's best string of shows, pay-per-view wise. I mean, even in early 2023, you said Mania, Puerto Rico, like Backlash, Puerto Rico. Elimination Chamber in 2023 was one of the best B pay-per-views they've ever done. And Rumble that year was also pretty good. So you can include those too. Fernando said, it's time to put the Vision out of its misery and scrap the Vision and pivot. I can't say I disagree. Coming off of Bronson Reed's injury, you might not be wrong there. Johnny said the Vision might have to add more members, get bigger than the Dodd Callis family. God, fuck no. That would be terrible. The Maxine and Natalia match, was trash. What a fucking lazy, they already did the non-finish a few weeks ago. And then they basically did it again last night. It was like rinse and repeat. Terrible, like you said. Are you happy for AJ Styles going into the WWE Hall of Fame this year, Sammy asked. Yes, I am very excited. Since he's one of my favorites of all time, I might even consider going to the fucking Hall of Fame, and that would be saying something because I was not there last year. I was there 2 years ago, and Heyman's speech was great, but that sitting there for that entire ceremony was absolute garbage. It went way late. It went way too long. They did it after SmackDown. I think it was after SmackDown last year, too, which is just such a dumb fucking idea. Anyway, have we ever seen a faction struggle so much to get established because of injuries before? Yes and no, Fernando. The Vision is cursed, but I wouldn't, and I'm going to tweet about this after we're done here, because I was your question kind of got me thinking. Injuries did not force the faction to struggle. The Vision was already a thing dating back to April of last year. The Vision was the thing for 6 months before Rollins got hurt. And then they were another thing for another 3 months before Breakker got hurt. Over 3 months. So I wouldn't blame the injuries. I wouldn't blame the Vision's lack of success on injuries. I would blame it on not having great chemistry, never really finding its footing, failing to establish a real identity for what the faction is supposed to be. Adding Logan Paul, in theory, were not awful additions, but it was just kind of random. It's just a group for the sake of having a group. And we already have the Judgment Day, and that's already ran its course as well. But yeah, I wouldn't really blame it on injuries. I mean, injuries have been a major factor for why the group hasn't worked, but really more than that was that the group never really worked in the first place. And that's coming from someone who really did not mind the Vision. I enjoyed the Vision. I think they were a fine group. They will not go down as my favorite faction of all time by any stretch. But I'm just saying, like, the large consensus, the general consensus was that the Vision was not working even well before Rollins got hurt back in October. As far as another group that failed to really get going due to injuries, I have a example, a faction that was plagued by injuries more than even the Vision, because at least this group barely got going before injuries fucked them over, and that's Evolution, the same group that Vision was first compared to when they came together last spring. But Evolution, Triple H, Ric Flair became a thing in late 02. Orton and Batista joined by early 03. Almost immediately did Orton and Batista get hurt. And they were both out for like the better part of 2003. And Triple H and Ric Flair kind of had to exist on their own without them until they came back later on in the year. And then it was obviously off to the races, and they were a great group, but they had great chemistry even from the get-go. They didn't really have to develop that chemistry. Now, Raw at that point was largely dog shit with Triple H on top and the whole Reign of Terror shit. But Evolution itself, I think, is a great group, and it launched the careers of Batista and Orton, two of the greatest of all time. I like Bronson Reed a lot. I don't really think it launched his career. He was already having momentum before he joined the Vision. He already had momentum. And Theory really hasn't benefited at all. Logan Paul is just kind of there. And Breaker already had so much momentum before he joined the Vision a year ago. So it's just not the same thing. Fernando says, someone tell Maxine that planking is not a thing anymore. Nathaniel said, hi, Graham, man, I think Raw was bad yesterday. Did you? Yeah, like I said, I that seems to be the general consensus. I am not going to sit here and say I was offended by the show. Was it boring? I don't know if I would go with boring. I wasn't like, oh, I'm falling asleep. I was falling asleep before I watched the show. It was definitely lifeless and not a great... I'm not going to sit here and defend the show. That's what you're thinking. I didn't love the show. I didn't fucking hate it. I do think there is a real conversation there that not even really needs to be had, because we've already been having this conversation for a while, that Raw, the overall WWE product, needs a real fucking overhaul. Like, I think they've made strides to improve SmackDown this year. There have been certain editions of SmackDown that were not good. The 3 hours are just awful. SmackDown was way worse last year around this time. Raw has its weeks where it's really good, and then there's weeks where it's not so good. Last week was not a great effort. It was fine. It was solid. This week was even weaker than that. Not a great go-home show for your pay-per-view coming up this weekend. If the idea was to get people excited for that show on Saturday, they failed miserably. The excitement is not there. There's no real excitement for Mania. And it's not even like, oh, it's the road to WrestleMania. It should be more exciting. Yeah, like, no shit, it should be more exciting. We have that conversation every fucking year. The issue is not with it being Mania season. The issue is with it being... what the fuck is going on with this product? We know what my issue with the current product is. It's fine. It's perfectly fine. But it should be a lot better. We know with this regime, Triple H specifically, having been at the helm now for a few years, we know what they're capable of, but it feels like they're just kind of resting on their laurels. You throw into the fact that the ticket prices and all this other shit are higher than they've ever been before, and then it's not worth it for the product they're putting out. It may have been 2 years ago and the product was just genuinely better and the shows felt must-see. That has not been the case in quite a while. The shows are good. They're not worth the prices they're charging you. At least like 10, 15 years ago when the shows were dog shit, the tickets were fucking dirt cheap, so you could bring the whole family and enjoy that dog shit show together and maybe have more fun in person than you do watching on television. But you just watch these shows and the crowds sound fucking bored. I mean, I thought last week's show was solid and I thought the Memphis crowd sucked. I can't even really say that about the crowd last night in Atlanta. I really did not think it was a great show. Bad, probably. Like, the worst of all time, I saw people saying that's a little dramatic. Like, I don't know where the fuck you were for the entire Vince McMahon regime. I mean, stop. That's just being dramatic. That's just being performative. But if you want to call it a bad show, that's totally understandable. There was a bigger conversation there with the current product and the quality of the current product. That's a problem, like I said. Nathaniel said, I wonder who will be Brock Lesnar's WrestleMania opponent. I mean, why would it not be Obafemi? You know, that whole thing last night, that whole segment sucked. I mean, that was just a waste of time. You talk about shit that sucked. That was a waste of fucking time. I mean, an open challenge for Brock Lesnar. Yes, Alex, I'll take lazy booking for $500, please. The fuck, man? I mean, just announce just have them set up a storyline. How difficult is it to set up? This is almost as lazy as the Omos match for Mania 3 years ago with Brock. Almost as lazy, because no pun intended. At least they set up a storyline between the two going into WrestleMania. Lazy as fuck, but it was still a storyline. We don't even know who Brock's facing. And they advertised it for like 5 or 6 Raws in the next few weeks. What is he, just going to come out and talk with Paul Heyman for a fucking 5 minutes? I mean, what a waste. Why advertise him for so many shows if we don't know who he's facing in Mania? My hope is that he just said that, they just said that last night, and we'll just find out who he's facing in the next few weeks. When he pops up on Raw again on the 316 show, we will know by then who he is facing. Hopefully. If not, we got a real problem. Fernando said, I think Drew is going to take out Jay before the Chamber match, and Jacob will enter last minute and win instead of Jacob versus Drew for the WWE title. I like that idea a lot. I'm still convinced we're not getting a singles match at Mania. I know Meltzer said that. Take that with a grain of salt. I would prefer Jacob versus Drew over Drew versus Cody any day of the week. But I would do Jacob and Drew and then Orton and Cody, non-title. They're not going to do that. So what I would do is just a multi-man match, a fatal 4-way, a triple threat. A 4-way would be fun, I would think, for the WWE title at Mania. I don't know who wins. I would put the belt on Jacob, but they would probably put it right back on Cody or some shit. Hey, maybe even have Drew retain. If it's a 4-way, Drew, the chances of him retaining honestly increase if it's a 4-way. You would think it'd be the other way around, more people, less of a chance to win. No, I think honestly, like he could steal the win like Orton did at WrestleMania 24. But that would be cool. Take Jey Uso out of there. I mean, the problem with that, though, is that they would really have to pivot because Bronson Reed was supposed to be in the match. Jey Uso was never supposed to be in the chamber. So it's not like that was the plan the whole time to have Jey get attacked and then, well, unless the idea was that Bronson Reed would have been attacked by like the Masked Man. But I think Knight's only in the chamber because he would have furthered the feud with Division by being in there with Bronson Reed. And that's not the case. So anyway, I don't see them doing that. I don't know how they get to the Fatal 4-Way at Mania. Like, I mean, it really doesn't make sense, to be honest with you, if Orton or Cody or whoever won the chamber, and then they just add another 2 people who did not win the chamber. Like, what the fuck did they do to deserve the opportunity? But it's better than doing Cody and Drew one-on-one, I'll tell you that. Did I see the new Toy Story 5 trailer, Nathaniel asked? Yes, I did. It's good. It was fine. I mean, I still don't think the movie's necessary, but, yeah. I did see the trailer. It was perfectly fine. Daniel, what's going on, brother? He said, Kiana James Hive, we up. We're definitely down because I can't pretend to care about that at all, but I know Nathaniel's a big fan, so I know you were happy to see that. I'm not really sure why. I mean, she's perfectly average. Adds nothing to the match. She's not winning. I mean, I would say who gives a shit, but you clearly do, Daniel, and that's totally fine, but I really genuinely don't get it with Kiana James. I know she has her fans, and she has her fucking diehards, and God bless them, but the purse ain't doing it for me. I'm sorry. The gimmick is garbage as well. Fernando said, Randy turns on Cody a few weeks after this weekend to set up the Mania for the 2 of them. I would hope so, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Brock should face Solo Sikoa at WrestleMania. And I should face a fucking casket, because that's where you would find me if we got that match at WrestleMania. Fernando, what's going on? Nathaniel said, I wasn't surprised. Liv shows. Let me back up here. A lot of comments here in the chat. I appreciate all the activity. We'll catch up. I wasn't surprised Liv chose Stephanie, but hey, I wonder if Liv beat Stephanie for the title. I wasn't shocked either, and yes, I do think they're doing that. I do think Liv will beat Stephanie for the belt. The negative feedback is very deserved for Raw. Yes, it was. For last night, definitely. I mean, overall, no. I mean, a lot of the shows have been fine, but like I said, I think the bigger problem with the show right now is that it needs to be better. Whether it's Mania, I mean, especially during Mania season, but just in general, the show is just there. Like, they need some big hooks. They need some real big... I mean, I say the same thing about AEW, but, like, they need some real... At least the title picture in AEW right now has been fucking awesome lately. So at least that's been exciting. We don't really have that in WWE. Punk and Roman... I mean, Punk and Balor's been good. It's not must-see, but it's been good television. Punk and Roman should be great, hopefully, based on that first promo, but maybe they peaked with that promo. We just don't know. Maybe it's going to be a lazy road to Mania. I wouldn't be shocked. Daniel said, why would TKO be forced to sell? Did I miss a news cycle? Well, we'll get to that question in a little bit. There's no news on that. It's just someone asked the question about it, so I'll talk about that later. We need to see you take a breathalyzer before we can believe that. Oh, the fact that I'm not intoxicated or sober or whatever. Is it weird that AJ Styles is getting inducted in the Hall of Fame before Cena? Is it weird? A little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit like I'm a little surprised by it. But yeah, I mean it's cool though. I mean, maybe the Cena thing, we just got a whole fucking year of John Cena. With AJ Styles, here's the difference. With AJ, they don't know if he's going to be around. Not that Cena's going to be around all that much, but Cena's like an ambassador. They will always have Cena. With Styles, he may not be under contract anymore after a certain point. I still feel like he probably re-signed, but you know, I feel like with Cena, they could always put him in at any point. He also might be busy during Mania this year. We got a whole year of him last year. It would make sense to put him in this year, but if you're putting in AJ and their capital, and AJ never really got a proper send-off. I mean, he did on Raw last night, so I get it. Eric said, wait, you interviewed Jack Hughes? That's so cool. I did. You could check out the interview in article form over on Bleacher Report right now. Shared it on social media. But he was cool, though. He was fucking nuts because, I mean, all kidding aside, I'm not like the biggest sports guy. So I did my research and I found out he was a big deal. And when I told other people I was interviewing him, they treated it like a big deal. And that's always cool. So, yeah, it was a very cool experience. I'm glad I got that opportunity. And then I talked to someone else who I think is also a big deal from the sports world today. That should be out at some point, too. I won't say who it is just yet, but stay tuned on that front. Noob, what's going on, brother? AJ Watson, what's going on? He said, which group is worse, Seth's Messiah group from 2020 or the current vision with Seth? I mean, Seth isn't in the current vision, but probably the Messiah. I mean, you know what? Honestly, current vision, because I honestly did like the Messiah group. It wasn't around for long, and people would shit on it. But I liked Messiah Seth. I thought the whole Monday Night Messiah thing, I kind of liked. I liked Buddy Murphy, whatever the fuck, as a disciple for him. They had Theory in there for like 2 minutes. AOP were great in that heavy role for him, and then they got hurt, so then they were off the show. I would say probably current vision, because at least that group had like an identity, and it may have been boring long term. They cut it short after only like 4 or 5 months. But I did like the Monday Night Messiah group. I genuinely did. I don't know what the vision was supposed to fucking be. I'm not really sure why Seth would need another group anyway. Alexis is here as well. Hello. Nathaniel said, my favorite chamber is 2009 when Edge destroyed Kofi Kingston. Yeah, that was a good chamber match. That was a big swerve, too. Edge took the spot of Kofi and then won the whole thing. It was a cool angle, too, because I remember as a fan not watching it. I didn't buy the pay-per-views back then, but I read about it on WWE.com the morning I woke up on Monday morning. But Edge was the WWE champion walking into Chamber that night. Was the first one eliminated by Jeff Hardy in that match. And it was crazy because he had just won back the WWE Championship from Jeff at the Royal Rumble. And then literally, like later on in the show, Kofi was in the chamber, gets taken out by Edge. Edge then wins the Raw chamber to win the World Heavyweight Championship. So he walked into the show as the WWE champion, walked out as the World Heavyweight Champion, which was still a pretty great fucking angle. Now, the match with like Cena and Edge and Big Show was not great at all. But the angle on that show specifically was pretty fucking cool, and I don't think they've done anything else like that since then. Fernando said, your book review of the Elite book was fire. I learned a few new things, like Hangman almost signing with New Japan instead of AEW, and Moxley being a last-minute signing. Thank you, Fernando. I appreciate you saying that. On that note, cheap plug, check out my review. I recorded that like well over a month ago because I did the audiobook like over a month ago. I finished the book in a matter of days. It was a good book. I know the author, Keith Elliott Greenberg. He's a very good writer. Used to work for WWE Magazine, actually. And he put out a book on the making of AEW pretty much from when they kind of formed in 2019 and some of the stuff leading up to that. And then all the way up until like 2024, late 2023. But it's a good book. I did not read it. I did the audiobook, and it was good. Short, but it was really good. So I would recommend checking it out, and also check out my review. Cheap plug up on the channel now from Sunday. Johnny said, Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley was not physical and hard-hitting enough and could have been more MMA shown in it. I don't know what match you're talking about. Maybe it was, maybe you're talking about, I assume you're talking about the 2023 Chamber match at the Chamber pay-per-view. Not the Chamber match, but like at the Chamber show. None of their matches really lived up to the full potential. I think Brock was being lazy. They didn't have great chemistry. They didn't really go full MMA with it, like you said. And I'm not saying they should have been in the fucking fight pit or something. I did say that at the time, but like that would have been cool. Like, oh, like have him really go out with the stipulation and really more bare knuckle fighting type shit. We just didn't get that. It was kind of just half-ass shit. I largely blame Brock for that because that makes sense. Noob said, Backlash Puerto Rico is a Puerto Rican Day parade, especially with Bad Bunny being on the show. That show is awesome. Still a great show. Fernando said Paul Heyman has been phoning in his promos lately. He's been phoning in his promos by and large for a very long time. There are weeks where he'll have like a fucking gem. Heyman is still a very good character. But he's on the show. He's overexposed. I'm not really sure what the end game is supposed to be. Like him with Roman made sense. And then he switched to Seth. And it's like, okay, this is something different. This is something new. And then, I don't know. It's just not. I can't tell you a single promo that he's cut in the last like fucking year. At least since before Mania last year when that Mania build was all about him for that triple threat match. That was great shit, I thought, for the most part. Since the Vision formed, he's just been kind of there. He really has been phoning it in. It's not like it's not really like they've been having him do anything overly interesting either. The Squirter, what a fucking name. Let me backtrack a little bit here. He said, will Grant be on site for a Mayweather-Pacquiao too? You're goddamn right Grant Matthews will be there. He is the sports aficionado after all. He will fucking be there. You can absolutely bet on that. Daniel said, yeah, my interest in the product has slowly dwindled over the last year and a half. Prices don't help either. Well, there you go. And Daniel's not the only one. Daniel's not just saying that because he's like the anomaly. He's very much, I would probably say that might be the general consensus. Literally everyone I've talked to, whether it be like the diehards are one thing, like you and I speaking on here, guys, is one thing. Like, oh, we don't like the product. Like we're fucking marks. We're going to watch anyway. And we've, whatever. I know a lot of casual fans, people that got into wrestling in the last few years during the big boom period, and there's just not a whole lot that they've been excited about. I could tell you several people that aren't flat out not watching the product, but just aren't as interested. So yeah, he's not alone. Squirter also said beard is bearding GSM. Thank you, Squirter. I appreciate that. This is a GSM beard. This isn't a Grant Matthews. Grant Matthews doesn't have a beard. Not as long as this. Fernando said Brock Lesnar came out to poor reaction. I didn't even really pay attention, but that wouldn't shock me. I mean, I genuinely think we have outlived the need for Brock Lesnar on WWE television. I like Brock. Been a Brock fan as a person, very questionable. We know that. I wasn't a fan of the fact they brought him back before they kind of cleared up his involvement with the whole Janelle Grant thing. That stuff aside, like genuinely not even talking about that, Brock adds nothing to the current product. Like, what does he bring that even part-timer energy? Roman has that now. Roman is like what Brock was a decade ago. So why are we still doing this with Brock? I'm not saying Brock is terrible, but he clearly doesn't put in the effort. His storylines are a fucking mess. There's really no reason for him to still be around. Just retire him and send him off to Saskatchewan and move the fuck on. Noel said, can we agree the Vision is probably the most cursed group in WWE history? I don't know if they're the most cursed group, but they're certainly well up there. 3 injuries in the span of 4 months with the 3 biggest members, not like a lower level guy, like all major. The original Vision is all injured. That is insane. Poor Austin Theory's career is stuck in limbo again. I mean, brother, it's been stuck in limbo for years now. I don't think joining the Vision, we talked about it at the time. I was very much against it. That's been the case for quite some time now. I think Toy Story 5 is the last one until they make a 6. You probably would have said the same thing about 4. Oh yeah, 3 is it. 3 is it, but they could make a 4th. Make a 4th. Yeah, 4 is it, but they could make a 5th. Now we have 5. Well, 5 is it. They could make a 6th. They're going to keep fucking milking this cow until it doesn't make money. Lightyear didn't make a whole lot of money. That was actually a good movie. I thought, anyway. But, yeah, Alexis being a little shit in the chat said, doesn't think Toy Story 5 is necessary, and then I also plan to go see it the day it comes out. You're goddamn fucking right, because I finished the story. I don't just watch a movie or two. I am part of the problem. Do I think it's going to be terrible? No, I think the movie will be good. I will absolutely be there day one. Here's the thing with it, too. Here's the thing, and people won't agree with this, and that's fine. Very simple-minded, but it's okay. the thing with this sort of stuff, I don't write movie reviews for a living or anything like that, but I'm a critic, okay? If I see something that could be good or that genuinely interests me, I'm going to go see it. I would rather go see it and be fucking think it's terrible and enjoy it more for that reason than go see a movie and be fucking bored. Alexis saw that Iron Lung movie. I genuinely had subpar interest in seeing that Markiplier movie. She didn't even think it was that good anyway. I heard it got good reviews. I don't really know. That shit does nothing for me. I would probably fall asleep. Toy Story at least could be entertaining enough to make it worth my while. I would at least, you can make the argument, oh, Disney doesn't need the money. Well, guess what? I don't give a shit. I'm still going to go see it. And that might be ass backwards logic, but I'm still going to go see it to see how bad it might be. I already had Disney Plus, so if it's not fucking paying money for it in a theater, the movie will still be made. Like, people, the way that I am not the casual person. Okay, I am not normal. Most people, if they don't care to see Toy Story 5, they're not going to go see it. I am the outlier. So whether I go see it or not, the movie will still be fucking made. I'm not going to make a difference. My $5 on a Tuesday will not make a fucking difference. But I want to go see the movie because I also like the Toy Story characters. I can feel that it's not necessary, but still go see it anyway. Just because I feel that the movie might not be necessary doesn't mean that I'm protesting the fucking movie industry or Disney or whatever. They do make too many sequels, but I want to go see it because that's what it's going to be in the general zeitgeist, and I don't want to be the only one that hasn't seen it. And I'm also curious if it's going to be worth the time. Abu Sika said, what's going on, brother? Does Hunter need to integrate more Bukkake Ghost in the programming? Yes, he does, Abu Sika. I hope you're doing well. Great to see you here in the chat. I missed you, my friend. But yes, we need more Bukkake on Monday Night Raw and on SmackDown. Thank you, Richie. What's going on, brother? He said, Beard Game going crazy. Sup, y'all? And that's me too, though. Oh, Daniels. That's from Daniel, not Richie. But yeah, thank you for the beard compliment there, Richie. I appreciate it, brother. Alexis said, LOL, not me catching. Yeah, he's fickle. No, Grant ain't fickle. How am I fickle? Am I telling you that I think the movie will be. Listen, we can have a whole conversation about why I'm seeing it, why I'm not going to see it. I'm still going to review the movie. I'm not going to go see 4 Toy Story movies and then not see the 5th. The movies are still going to be fucking made regardless. I'm not even telling you it's going to be bad. It's just not necessary. They don't need to make another one. You know how many things I could say that about where I don't think they needed to do it, but I'm still going to go see it anyway? I still have interest in it. I still have more interest in that shit than 90% of the other garbage in theaters right now. That movie with fucking, there's so much shit. I'm not even going to sit here and say it because she'll get upset, but it's not a fickle thing. I think you should look up the word fickle and maybe get back to me what you think the definition means. Raquel is winning the chamber, Jade and Raquel at Mania. Absolutely not. I guess she could. That doesn't interest me at all. Richie said Toy Story 5 trailer was not it. Something about it does not feel authentic. They were stretching it with the 4th film, which ended up being good, but this feels like a soulless cash grab. Oh, it's like I said, it's absolutely a cash grab. It absolutely is. I'm not even sitting here telling you the trailer was great. The trailer was fine. It wasn't terrible either. I just thought it was fine. It wasn't, it's like, okay, this could have been a Disney Plus exclusive, but they got to make money off it. They're making money off it. It's fucking smart. If you are a business, this is the shit that you do. If you are in charge of Disney and you're looking for quick ways to make money, okay, this failed. How can we make up for it? Lightyear did not go well. For whatever reason, didn't make money. How can we continue making money? Okay, why would you not, if you're Walt Disney, he's dead, but if you're Walt Disney and you're alive, why would you not make a 5th one? Seeing how much fucking money the other 4 movies made. It's not necessary. Yeah, no shit, it's not necessary. I said that too. I just said that. I'm just saying, if I'm an executive, of course you're going to keep making sequels until they don't work. You're going to keep going back to the same well. Moana 2, also not necessary. Movie was very basic, but it made a bajillion fucking dollars. And listen, I'm also going to sit here and say, I feel like it would be hypocritical of me to say, whatever gets people going to theaters, I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care about Disney making money, But if the theaters are making money because people are going to the theaters to see this garbage, the Minecraft movie was god-awful, but it made a lot of money. It was very successful. People enjoyed it, whether it was so bad it was good, which it was. People are going to see it. Honestly, genuinely, that's really all I care about. If they weren't making, I mean, yeah, you can argue, well, they could be making more original movies and, they should be doing that. I agree. They absolutely should be. They should be balancing the sequels with the original content. Well, guess what? They've done some original content in recent years, and it hasn't really been all that good, and people aren't talking about it, and people aren't going to see it. We're not talking about it because you guys didn't see it, probably. Neither did I, because I didn't give a fuck. You're not going to go see Toy Story 5, and that's fine, but you're probably in the minority because the movie will still be made. The movie will make up $1 billion. The theaters will still be doing well, and I'm happy. If the movie theaters went out of business because they weren't making big blockbusters anymore, whether they're good or bad or who gives a shit? As long as they're keeping cinemas alive, that's really all I care about because I'm going to want to see these movies in theaters and not on fucking Disney+. I wish I could have seen Zootopia 2 in theaters. I heard it was actually pretty good. Just because it's a sequel doesn't mean it's not necessary. Okay, who cares? But with Toy Story, it's unnecessary. But again, if it gets people going to the theaters again or continuing to go to the theaters, then whatever. It's better than nothing. I mean, I'm sorry to turn this into a movie podcast, but that's just how I feel. I don't think WWE would have inducted him unless they had AJ in the full long term, he said. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know if he would sign a 6-month extension. I don't think AJ's going anywhere. I know what I said earlier, Fernando, and that's why you're responding to that with what you did. I'm glad they're inducting AJ before Cena, though. I just feel like that makes more sense. So I don't have an issue with that. Is it like weird though? Yeah, it's definitely weird, but I mean, also AJ's also retiring. We heard so much from they made so much bigger of a deal around the Cena thing. And like I said, moreover than anything, Cena might not be free. Also, this means that Stephanie's not the headliner. Thank God, unless they close with Stephanie, which would be terrible. She seems like a nice person, but that just sounds dreadful. The Triple H speech from last year was good, but that was also way too long. But anyway, Cena, they can always induct another year. When he's free, absence makes the heart grow fonder. They didn't make as big of a deal around the AJ retirement tour, if you can even call it that. So I think this is the right call. Also, prayers for my boy Bronson Reed. I agree, Richie. Abu Sika said, let me backtrack a little bit. This is turning into a Toy Story 3 podcast today. Toy Story 3 debate. Or a Toy Story debate in general. I genuinely thought Toy Story 3 would be the last. I think we all did. And then they announced the fourth one a couple years later. I remember when they announced the fourth one 4 years later. I'm just like, why? It was the same day they announced Incredibles 2 and Finding Dory. And honestly, all of those movies ended up being pretty good. They were all good movies. Toy Story 4 is obviously the weakest, but it's not a bad movie. What grade do I give the Cody and Sammy promo on SmackDown? A+. It was awesome. Fantastic. It was fantastic. They need more of that on WWE television. Daniel said, I didn't hate Toy Story 4, but potential unpopular opinion alert. I don't care for Forky, LOL. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I don't really give much of a... I mean, the other characters are just way better. Forky's fine. He's a fine character. They wanted to add more characters. None of the new characters really resonated with me. Duke Kaboom, voiced by Keanu Reeves, is cool, but it's not like I have a fucking Duke. I mean, I have a little Forky thing over there, but someone gifted that to me. It's not like Forky's my favorite character. Kind of reminds me of the Anxiety character from Inside Out 2. Where they needed to add a new character. And I mean, I think Anxiety was kind of better done, but I'm more of an OG Toy Story fan with the characters they have in those movies, personally. But yeah. Any news on Fast 11, Eric said? Yeah, actually, they did announce it. Fast 10 came out, I think, 3 years ago, which is crazy. They announced the next part, Fast 10 2, Fast 10 Part 2, Fast 11, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That's coming out in 2 years. They announced it, recently. I think March or something. March of 2028, which seems far away. But yeah, they did officially announce it because for a while there it was not confirmed, which is kind of strange based on how the last movie ended on. Forky is the Jar Jar Binks of the franchise. I don't know if I'd go that far, Richie, but I don't agree with that. Jar Jar Binks was like, oh, what are we doing here? Forky was not a Forky did not have go away heat with me the same way Jar Jar Binks did. Fernando said, I think WWE is creatively bankrupt right now. I would agree with that. TT said, wait, I don't understand the idea. Why would TKO do that? As far as selling the company, well, we'll get to that later on. Someone asked a question about it, which is why it's the headline for today's video. Gonna have to wait and see. Grunt, what's going on, brother? He said, hey. Brandon said, TKO might bring back Vince right now. No, they're not. They're not bringing back Vince. I mean, that's not impossible, but I don't think that's the play here. And it'd be pretty fucking dumb if they did. If you want to tank any remaining goodwill that you have with your fans. I think Brock retires at SummerSlam. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm not convinced that he will. I know that was the talk there for a while. Brock will always show up just to do it. I don't think Brock ever is going to ever formally retire until he's like fucking 60 maybe. He comes in and wrestles like 3 matches a year. Like, he'll probably be around for another few years at the very least. I would retire him at SummerSlam. I would like to see him retire at SummerSlam. I don't think he will. Fernando said, is Gunther booked to retire Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam in his own town who's a babyface? I mean, yeah, Gunther would have to be the heel there, obviously. Brock isn't a face or a heel. He's just whatever the fuck they want him to be on any given day. But he should retire. I mean, I would have Oba Femi beat Brock in his last match because at least Oba can really benefit. Not that Gunther doesn't benefit, but he's already established. Oba's not as established. That'd be a big coup for Oba to say that I retired Brock. If they actually follow up on it. Because like Baron Corbin retired Kurt Angle, and then that kind of went nowhere, and it didn't really benefit him at all in the long term. Abu Sika said, why don't they try Theory as a babyface? From what I can tell, the guy is very personable. Great idea. I'm going to talk about that. I was already thinking that. I don't really want to talk about that here because I have an idea for that on Thursday's WrestleRant radio. So, G-plug. But I'm going to get to that on Thursday. The vision is fucked. The vision's cooked, okay? You have one of two options of what you could do with the vision. Do what you're suggesting, and I honestly would probably try that. Or you could just keep them in the tag team ranks, which is fine, but that's not really overly interesting. So I'll talk about it more on Thursday with RJ. How would we fix the vision or just let it go? Would we kill it? Kill the vision. More on Thursday. Woody losing his hair was you mean neat? You said seat. But yeah, I thought that was well done. Either Woody or Lightyear should sacrifice their lives in Toy Story 5. Here's the problem with doing a 5th Toy Story movie when we talk about unnecessary shit. My biggest problem, the fact they're even making it is like, what are we doing? Like, why? I agree. It's like, we've already said this. I can get this tattooed in my fucking head that it's an unnecessary movie. Here's my problem with doing a 5th one. Not only do they not need to, I mean, I guess financially they need to, which, why else would they be doing it? The stakes at the end of the 3rd one, like the ending was just chef's kiss. But they felt there was room to tell more story there with the 4th movie. Okay. So they do the 4th movie. The ending is awesome. Like the ending is like Bud and Woody and Buzz. People were upset about it, but boo-hoo, get over it. Them going their separate ways, it was emotional. It was really well done. I haven't seen the movie since it first came out. I'm going to rewatch it before the 5th one comes out. But it made me upset. Like it was a very well done ending. Like they go off into the sunset. They said goodbye to Andy at the end of the 3rd one. And the 4th one, they said goodbye to each other. But then they just reunite in the trailer as if no time fucking passed. Now, obviously, though, I'm sure they would address that in the movie. But it's like someone retiring and then just coming back out of retirement a month later. We had this grand send-off, and then you're just going to fucking throw it away. Creatively, I agree. It's stupid. Financially, I get why they would just keep making them. I get it. You talk about creatively bankrupt ideas in WWE. The fucking movie industry has been bankrupt for decades, but specifically in the last 10 years. Alexis said, okay, but I'll be there at -1 day of the Backrooms film. Yeah, they came out with a trailer for the Backrooms movie today. For anyone interested in that, it looks fine. Alexis will be there. Day -1. I'll be there. I'll see that. I'll watch it. That's a movie I would watch. I shit on the Iron Lung movie. I don't really give a fuck about that. The Backrooms one actually does seem genuinely interesting. I don't know if it'll be good. It could end up being like mid, But I'll go see it. Listen. I have my fucking radar for what constitutes as me worth going to pay money to see a certain movie. However many movies are out that month, maybe I can't. That doesn't make the cut. These movies will make the cut. Blah 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 blah. All this other shit. Richie said, "May baby, let's go." Undertone and backrooms are heavy on my radar. Yeah, what is undertone? Not yeah. You wrote undie. That sounds like underwear. Undie-tone? I think you forgot an R there, Richie, but yes, I saw the Undertone trailer, actually. We saw Strangers a couple weeks ago. That was purely a case of just finishing the story, because the first two parts of it, like the recent movies, were just fucking ass. Just terrible. And we watched, we saw the third one, it was awful. Me and Alexis' brother, but we saw the trailer for Undertone. It looks fine. I mean, if it's like... It's really got to like, that doesn't, I'm not just going to go see any movie that seems mildly interesting. I'd have to hear some real, like, I didn't see Marty Supreme, but I heard from everyone in my family that saw it that it was a great movie. So I'm not, I mean, I think it's out of theaters now, but I probably wouldn't go pay to see it anyway. I would watch that on Max at some point. Like, Anora didn't really interest me, but like, I think I heard it won a lot of awards. Alexis wanted to watch it after the fact. So we watched that one recently. It ended up being actually a really good movie. See, I'm not going to the movie I'm not going to the theater every single week. To me, at that point, it just wouldn't be special. That's also part of the problem. There's a whole conversation there. Anyway, Daniel said we need more Bukkake on Monday Night Raw and SmackDown. Yes, we do. You heard it here first, Daniel. You heard it here first. Fernando, let me backtrack a little bit here. Are you going to watch the Pirates of the Caribbean without Johnny Depp with Margot Robbie when it comes out? You have to finish the story. No, I would not go pay to see that. So you ask me any question, and I will answer your question. Okay, as far as this shit goes, I know you're like, yo, you thought you got me there with Fernando. He said, would you watch Back to the Future Part 4 if they chose to make one with MJF or not? Oh, you think you got me there, Fernando? Oh, you got to finish the story. Are the Pirates of the Caribbean movies even going to be connected to the original movies? You know, like the fifth one I did not see. The fifth one, it's all, I'm not saying there's a blanket rule for every single movie. And I don't think it's hypocritical for me to say that either. The first three are amazing. I said this last week. I don't know, someone asked me about this, I think on the show last week, but Grunt saw Iron Lung and had a blast. Well, there you go. He enjoyed the movie. That's good. But anyway, so I saw the first three pirate movies. Amazing. I saw the fourth one in theaters. It was okay. Didn't even bother to go see the fifth one. There was just other shit going on. It just was not a priority. No one really went to go see it, which is why they didn't make a fucking sixth one. So I made the right call there. I did end up watching it the following year on Netflix. Not good. Complete waste of time. Not really sure why they did it. Completely forgettable movie. So no, it depends. Like if they make a new one, honestly, if they make a new one with Margot Robbie, the answer is no. Because I don't think it would be connected. Now, if I hear it ends up being good, or if everyone's talking about it, like I follow some YouTube channels that review this shit, and if I want some extra context for it, then I'll go see it. Sometimes I won't. Honestly, though, if it's not connected, then no. I probably wouldn't watch it. Noel said, like Cody Rhodes said, I have to finish the story. I saw Toy Story 1 through 4. I have to see 5. Yep, pretty much. That's where I am. As far as Back to the Future 4, I feel like they would only make it. That's actually not true. I don't have any faith in like Hollywood, but I was going to say, I feel like they would make it with the intent of doing the first one. I would see it just to see it like, okay, I'm curious. Not because I'm excited, but I feel like I would watch the fourth one. They should never make a fourth one, by the way, obviously. But if they were, and I think Robert Zemeckis even said they'd have to make it over my dead body, so just wait until he dies, they would announce the movie the next day. They'd be real, they'd play it real dirty like that. I would probably go see it, just to see, okay, let's see if this is worth it or not. Is this dog shit or is this going to be great? At least there's a question there. There's movies that you look up, like, I'm like, what is this even about? This isn't interesting. I don't care. You know, and it's not like I only go see big blockbusters anyway. Like I saw that movie See No Evil or Speak No Evil, actually. That was a remake, I guess. I didn't know that. With James McAvoy, we saw that about a year ago. Honestly, really liked it. I really liked the movie. Alexis didn't like it as much, but I thought that was a really good movie. I think he as an actor is also great. So it's not like it has to be an established property. Basaiku. What's going on, brother? He said, thoughts on Shia LaBeouf bottoming. Did something else happen with Shia LaBeouf that I missed? I mean, he bottomed out a decade ago, right? I mean, he kind of went off the cuckoo deep end. But listen, I think he's a great actor. I think he's very good. Shia was in Peanut Butter Falcon back in 2019. That's a great movie. So I don't know what he's doing these days, but he is a very good actor, or was anyway. We have to keep the theater business alive, Graham, Fernando said. I agree. Average Grunt said, I'm still going to huff the copium until they announce his new backstage role. Oh, for AJ? Yeah, Grunt's still holding out hope that he could leave. I'm right there with you, Grunt. I completely agree. It's not going to happen. I've kind of, I'm left with the idea that he's not going anywhere, is AJ Styles. But never say never. Will Bon Quivy or Trevor return for Avengers Doomsday? I think both are confirmed. Hopefully not Trevor because he's a piece of shit. Trevor Slattery, yes. Trevor himself, fuck him. He's a piece of garbage. I think they'll be in it. I heard Grant Matthews might be in it for the sports side of the movie, but we'll see. Fernando said, why is The Rock induction into the Hall of Fame taking so long? What do you think they're waiting for? For him to be free. That's what they're waiting for. I also don't think he wants to go in because he doesn't feel like he's done yet. I think it's a very big ego thing with The Rock, genuinely. I think with The Rock, that first of all, he needs to be free, but two, I don't think he's done. I feel like if he gets inducted, he feels like, I'm done. Okay, so fucking Edge, Edge too. Edge was done when he got inducted, but like Goldberg went in. He should have been done and then came back anyway. He came back purely for financial reasons, I'm sure, but anyway. With The Rock, it's a scheduling thing, but it's also like he will not accept the honor until he feels like he's definitely done. And he keeps holding out for one more match, and it's been so long that it's like, not that the interest is not there, but it's like, come on, man. It's been like 10 years with you and Roman now. Either do it or shit or get off the pot. And they're not going to do it. I don't think they are. The time to do it, they missed the window. It's over. Last year would have been the year, honestly. With Roman being a babyface and Rock doing the whole heel Rock thing, and they still didn't do it. And it's like, okay, then I just don't give a shit. Nathaniel said, do I hope they make Finding Marlin? No. Finding Dory was enough. Alexis said, I don't agree at all. Sequels totally suck the life out of what Disney used to be. I completely disagree. But she said, most are not good. Moana 2 sucked. Toy Story 4 was mid at best. They need to stop, and I won't support that, LOL. I actually will completely disagree with that. Toy Stories, let me, the quote here, I will highlight it here. Sequels totally suck the life out of what Disney used to be. Yet, let me check my notes here. Hold on. Just give me 1 second. Were people saying that when Toy Story 2 and 3 came out, and arguably two of the greatest Pixar movies of all time? Were people arguing in 2005, well, they can't make a Toy Story 3? I mean, Toy Story 2 was so great, they can't obviously make another one. The sequels are the problem with our industry, which they are. But were people heavily debating making a third one back in 2010 because we'd already seen Toy Story twice before? Give me fresh ideas. No, we went to go see that movie and ended up being one of the greatest movies of the last 15 years. And fucking, what's his name? The Feet guy. Tarantino agrees with that. So, yeah, sequels can be lazy, but if there's a story there that makes sense, then you do it. It's as simple as that. I really genuinely don't think there's a blanket statement. Like, yeah, that's true, but that doesn't mean all sequels are bad. Some sequels are. Maybe most do. But, like, most are not good. Finding Dory, I thought was great. Incredibles 2 was great. Toy Story 4 was a good movie. Mid is fine, but I think Toy Story 4 was good. There was another one, too, they did. Cars 3 at one point. I don't know why that movie was even really made. But at one point, Alexis was the biggest offender of that movie. So, you'd have to disagree with yourself. Because that movie, I also remember nothing about it. Richardson, March 2028 is crazy. Nobody's going to care by then. For the Fast movie? Probably not, no. We're so past, like, the Fast franchise shit. You know who will care? This guy. For the sole reason The last movie I thought was really good. The Fast movie that came up before that was not. So I don't know. I don't know if this next one will be good. I will care because I want to see the story through. But will most people care? I don't know. The Fast and Furious movies always find a way to make money, though. So I think they'll be fine. Vin Diesel said it's the very last Fast and Furious movie. Did they not say that also like 10 years ago as well? So I can't say I believe him at this point. I feel like he said that 3 other times. Alexis added, Finding Dory was great, Incredibles 2 was good, but at this point, doing all of these sequels this many years later is pathetic. Well, no shit, but at the same time, they did Toy Story 3 8 years after Toy Story 2, and it was, I think I forgot. Let me just go back and check my notes real quick. It was a phenomenal piece of cinema. So I don't think the fact they're doing it so many years later is the problem. If there's a good idea there, you explore the good idea. Sometimes the ideas aren't that good. I mean, this was 15 years ago, but Brave, I mean, who fucking cares about Brave? That was an original idea. I don't give a shit about Brave. Turning Red was an original idea. I honestly, genuinely, personally didn't think it was that great of a movie. It was fine. Very forgettable. Soul I actually did like. Luca, a little boy in the water, fish in the fucking water, doesn't interest me at all. It's got to be a good idea. If the idea is good, whether it's Toy Story 7 or an original movie, then I'll see it. Elio was a cute concept. I thought it was a good movie. I actually really enjoyed it. Didn't make any money at all. I mean, and I don't think it's just because, it's not Toy Story 7, people aren't going to see it. No, they're not going to see it because it wasn't like it didn't have any real buzz around it. The marketing, I mean, it was on Disney Plus all the time. They were putting that shit in commercials every fucking week. But with Elio, it wasn't like that phenomenal of a concept where it's like, oh man, we got to stop and drop what we're doing because there's so much content out there nowadays. It has to be like an exceptional idea. Even if it sucks, it has to be something worth talking about. That will get people going to movies. If the movie's like okay, Alexis just texted me, sorry. The movie's... She's texting me, so I gotta not look at my phone. The movie, the idea... We're talking so much about movies here today. This has nothing to do with what this video is supposed to be about. What are we doing? The movie has to be something worth people will pay money to go see, whether it's awful or whether it's something that's a sequel to something that they grew up watching, so they have an attachment to it, or it's this amazing concept that got everyone talking. Like, one battle after another. The idea alone didn't really interest me. It ended up being a very good movie. I don't love the movie. I thought it was very good. I thought it was slightly overrated, but it's still a very good movie. Hold on. Oh, fuck. Wait, hold on. My phone is fucked up. Cars 3 was created to erase the memory of Cars 2, and they haven't made one since, she said. So now we're coping. Why was Cars 2 even made? What was the point of Cars 2? What was the point of that? They made Cars 3 to erase the memory of Cars 2? Who gives a shit? Who cares? Was anyone begging for Cars 3? No, you just let it die. But anyway, it's got to be something that people are going to go out of their way to say. Good, bad, doesn't matter. It's got to be something that gets people talking. One Battle After Another was a massive movie. It won a lot of awards. I watched it because it got people talking. It wasn't exactly I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was very good, like I said, but it wasn't like, it's on my greatest movies of all time list or anything. It's not. But it won awards, and I'm curious, why did it win awards? Is this worth it? Is it not? The same thing with, what was it? Everything Everywhere All at Once. I know the hot take, we didn't really like the movie. I didn't love the movie, but it got people talking, and that's why I went to go see it. Didn't really see the hype around it. Haven't seen it since, but, if it gets people talking, then that's really all that matters, right? Do I think Royce Keys is in the box? I mean, at this point, he might as well be because he's not on TV otherwise. What are your thoughts on what is happening in Mexico right now? What's happening in Mexico right now? I'm not, honestly, genuinely, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe I'm just ignorant. I'm honestly just not sure. Fernando said, I don't know how stocks work, but I know Vince McMahon owns a lot of shares. Can he use that to get back and reclaim the company? I don't know if he has any stocks or shares left. I think he sold all of them. I think you're behind the 8 ball on that one, Fernando. Eric said, I agree Maxine has improved a lot, but why not send her to Evolve to help Help her lure? What does that mean? But they should send her to NXT. I mean, Maxine at this point's been on the main roster for so long, they're not going to do that, but they probably should. I do agree she's improved, but I also agree she should probably be put back in developmental because she's not as good as she should be for a main roster talent, even though she has improved. Will we see Brock and Oba at Mania? I'm going to still say yes. I'm a lot less optimistic now than I was a month ago. Yeah. Alexis is all up in her feelings right now, texting me on the side. I'm not even going to look at my phone because jokes on jokes on you. Let me check my notes. Who cares? Will we see Brock and Oba at Mania? Yeah, I'm going to still say yes. What would I do for Logan at Mania? I would do something, try to get Bad Bunny in there. If Logan's not on the Mania card, I can't imagine many people would really care that much. But they obviously see it as a priority. They would want to get him on the show. Try to do something with Bad Bunny. That's the only real match that makes sense. Unless him and Theory are challenging for the tag titles, which they very well probably will, that is okay, but it's not an idea that really gets me overly interested or excited personally. Nike said, earlier this week, it marked 10 years since Shane O'Mac, I forgot about that, returned to WWE in Detroit. What were your top 3 matches that he had in that final run? That's a good question. The AJ Styles match is easily number 1 from WrestleMania 33. That match was awesome. His performance in the Survivor Series 2016 Raw and SmackDown match was not great, but that match is great though. I really like that match. So I might say that one, because honestly, what other matches would you include? The matches with Miz were good, but like him winning all of those matches was garbage. The tag match for Mania 34 was fine. Him and Owens Hell in a Cell I didn't love. Maybe him and Owens from SummerSlam 2019. They had a ladder match on SmackDown that was also good, so maybe that one. He didn't have a lot of matches that were like, oh my God, these are great. Like the Undertaker Hell in a Cell match was very underwhelming. Him and Braun Strowman at Mania was like, okay, sure, why not? You know, Shane McMahon had a match at Mania. Like they needed to get him on the card for some reason at Mania 32, which was cool. And then it kind of like 33, okay, 34. 35 he wrestled at. 36 he did not wrestle at in the warehouse. But he did wrestle at 37. He wrestled at 39 against The Miz and beat him with a fucking torn hamstring. I think Miz technically won that match because he had a forfeit. He was in the Rumble in 2022, which was awful. I think it's really only the AJ match for Mania, if we're being completely honest. But if you want to include multi-man matches, maybe Survivor Series 2016 and one of the matches with Owens from 2019. Not him and Roman, not him and fucking Dolph from Crown Jewel in 2018. Grunt said, saw Toy Story 3 at the drive-in and legit cried at the ending. I think 90% of people did. It's phenomenal. Richie said, Saudi paying that good money for Alexis sending a $2 super chat. She is so bothered right now about this movie thing. Yeah, Undie Tone is crazy. Yeah, Richie, you forgot the R there. Saudi paying that good money for Woody to come out of retirement. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Have Alexis and I seen The Notebook? Yes, we watched it on Valentine's Day. I think I said this last week. It was a very good movie. It's not like I didn't give it 5 stars. I gave it 4. I actually did enjoy it. I could see why people like it so much, though. We did watch it on Valentine's Day, and overall, I did enjoy it. I did think it was very good. Goat looks good. The basketball movie. I'll check that out when it gets to streaming. Yeah, that comes out. I think it already came out. Didn't it already come out like this weekend, or it's coming out this week or something? Yeah, I don't know if I'd go see it, but I'll go see Hoppers. I want to see Hoppers, that little fucking mole movie or whatever it is. I'll definitely be seeing that. Toy Story pulled the Mick Foley back for one more time, only stunt. LOL. Yeah, no, it is a Mick Foley for sure. Well, I see Scream 7. Yes. I like the last one. I'm curious. I mean, there's rumors about the 7th. Oh, is Matthew Lillard in it, which he probably is. I'm seeing it for him alone. And also because the last one was good. But yeah, we will be seeing Scream 7. The killer reveal of Sackhead was so anticlimactic in Strangers Chapter 3. Yeah, it's that whole movie. Everything about that movie was anticlimactic. It was so bad. He also said, we all figured out who was Sackhead in Chapter 2 when his roommates were killed shortly after he took off. Yeah, it was so obvious that it was him. Kingslayer said, Ari only took in WWE because he didn't have to buy them out just to merge TKO. I think the entire plan was always to balloon WWE and sell down the line. Very possible. Very possible. Nike said that we're the same age. Did you see that the dad from Lizzie McGuire passed away today? It's sad, man. We're getting old. GSM ripped to him in thoughts and prayers to him and his family. I did see that. That was very sad. What's sad about that, it's not the fact that we are getting older, but it's also the fact he himself was not that old. It would be one thing. It's like, oh, he lived a full life and he died at like 90 something, but that wouldn't be for another 20 years. He was like 71 or something. He was like pretty young. I think he might have been 71, which is how old Catherine O'Hara died, which is how old she was when she died. That's still pretty young. Yeah, so I know him from Lizzie McGuire, but I also know him as the detective from My Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire, which is a very good Disney Channel original movie from 26 years ago, almost 30 years ago. Fuck me, man. But yeah, I did see that he passed. That is very sad. He died too young. It is an idea like, oh, we're getting older. All these people are dying, but like he shouldn't have died as early as he did. I don't know what he died from, but I think he was like 70 something though. He definitely was not like 80 or 90 because he was like 40 or late 30s on Lizzie McGuire. Yes, Woody and Buzz did separate, Eric. Spoiler alert for Toy Story 4, but the movie ended with them going their separate ways. And now they're back together again. Nike said, can you rank the Shia Transformers movies from worst to best? No, because I have not. Shia's returned to the Transformers franchise? Well, that's interesting. Huh. I have not seen most of the Transformers movies. I'm going to be completely honest. I saw the first one a few years ago. I haven't seen any of the other ones. I saw part of the second one, maybe. They just are not my type of thing. I don't really care that much about them. They were good, like, popcorn movies back in the day, but even then I didn't pay to go see. I just didn't really care, so I can't rank them. I've seen the first one. I saw the animated one that came out a few years ago. That was a really good movie. But, like, all the other Shia ones, I have not seen. That is crazy. He's coming back to Transformers, though. That's a big get, because that's like it's a nostalgia thing for people, you know, because they grew up on those first few movies that he was in. So maybe it'll be good. Probably not, but maybe. I don't know. Shia got his ass whooped in NOLA. Was that like now? Was that today? When did that happen? I know he went off the deep end a long time ago. That's crazy. Noob said, is WWE botching the entire women's division ahead of WrestleMania 42? Most of it, yes. The women's tag team division is great. But, like, Liv and Stephanie's a good feud. They got to make it more interesting, though. That just doesn't really do much for me. No, I did not read your next message, Alexis asked. She's asking, I didn't read your next message. No, I didn't. I'm trying to stream here, but, no, you know, like Jade facing who? I mean, Bianca's out, so that sucks, but who is Jade facing at Mania? Her and Charlotte could be interesting, but I'm not even sure that's like a salvageable storyline that would make the feud that would make the road to WrestleMania all that much more exciting. So, yeah, you know what? The answer is yes. They have kind of done, like, Becky and AJ I like, but the feud also has not been hitting lately. So, yeah, they're kind of botching most of the women's division right now. Sad about Lizzie McGuire's dad. Heard he mental health runs in the family. Oh, God. How did he die? Was it a mental health thing? Jesus Christ. Nathaniel said, I'm excited for Spider-Man Brand New Day and Avengers Doomsday should be fun. Me too. Nike said, it would have been cool if we had Triple H versus AJ Styles before both hung up the boots. Yeah, that would have been cool. Hold on, I have to adjust like the chat here. Hold on. Oh, fuck. Fuck. Let me try to do something real quick. Come on. Nope. Fucked it up. There we go. No, I fucked it up again. Whatever. I just wanted to check the time on something. Anyway. Yeah, Triple H and AJ, I don't know if it would have been cool, That's a match AJ I know wanted. I know that for a fact. I know AJ wanted that match to face Triple H at Mania at some point. I don't know if the match would have been that great. Him and Taker ended up being a lot more fun than it would have been. But that was also a cinematic match. If AJ and Taker had a regular match, I don't know if that match would have been very good. I'm not sure. I wasn't overly optimistic going into Mania that year. So, yeah. I don't... Triple H was kind of cooked, though. Triple H had been washed in the ring for so many fucking years. Him and Batista was not great. 2018, the intergender tag match was great. I thought that was a very fun match. But him and Rollins was kind of... I thought it was good, but it was underwhelming. Him and Roman was not great. Him and Sting was what it was. It was fun, but it was okay. Yeah. I don't even know if AJ could have gotten a great match out of Triple H in like 2019 or 2020, to be honest with you. Unless it was like 05, then sure. 2020, I don't know. How big of a role do I think Tom Holland will have in Avengers films if he's in it? The first one, Doomsday, I don't think he's going to be in. I just don't. I think he will be in, he'll definitely be in Secret Wars, and I think he'll be a big part of Secret Wars. I don't think he'll be in Doomsday, though. I don't think they need him for that movie either, to be honest, based on everything that we're hearing about it. Bro, I'm going to go see Toy Story 5. Not only that, I'm going to go see that Super Mario Galaxy movie. Goddamn fucking right. I'm going to be there seeing both. But, I mean, the Mario movie I'm genuinely excited for. I think that'll be fun. The first movie was great. I love that Mario movie from a few years ago. I'm excited for the sequel. Rank the good Star Wars sequels and rank the bad Star Wars sequels. So are you asking me to rank the 2000s trilogy and then the new trilogy? If that's what you're asking, then for episodes 1 through 3, it's 3, 1, and then 2. 2 might be a better movie than... I remember much more about 1 than I do about 2. 2 is very filler. 2 has Count Dooku in it, but 1's got Maul in it. You know what I mean? Like, 1 is not great. I don't know. It's weird. I think 2 might be as good as 1. I'd still probably go 3, 1, and then 2. 1 has more of that kind of... What's bad is bad, but what's great is great. 2 is kind of all over the place. It's not really overly interesting. It's got the clones in it, which is cool, but I don't know. It's kind of boring. So I would go 3, 1, then 2. And then for the new movies, I would go 7, 9, 8. I think 7's the best one. 9 is not that great, but it's better than 8. 8 is just it just completely fucks up the entire trilogy. And it's on its own is not an awful movie, but like just nothing is coherent from movie to movie. And then 9 is like, whoa, like what are we doing here? Yeah. I did break Daniel. Nathaniel said, is Bianca going to be back for Mania? Don't think so. The G in GSM stands for giggles? Apparently so. Alexis is not happy. She desperately wants to debate this movie thing. She can't let it go. The Godfather 2 is considered way better than the original. It is, but I actually would disagree. I'm not that I'm a movie expert or anything, but we watched the second movie. We watched Godfather 2 a few years ago. I can see why people consider it good. I was largely bored for most of it. I did think the first one was better. I like the first one more. I think Godfather 2 is actually overrated. I could see why people like it, but I don't think it's like the greatest sequel of all time. That's kind of maybe in 1980 or something, but I don't know. Not by today's standards, in my opinion. Richie said cartel leader got deleted and gang members got angry and went ballistic. Oh, is that the Mexico thing? Jesus Christ. That's crazy. Eric said learn. About the Mexico thing? I'm not going to learn right now. Is that happening today or when has that been going on? Here's the thing too. I'm not on social media. I try not to be. It's just fucking exhausting. So you got to forgive me. I'm not reading the news and I don't live in fear as most people do. So if I don't know what's going on, it's because I'm probably just eating or something. I don't refresh my timeline every 10 minutes because I'm just like, I got to live in the now. I mean, I probably would have heard about, I don't know. When did that happen? I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Nike said, on second thought, don't read that text. It sounds like a private convo. Not really. I could read the text. Let me see. I can read it. I think she was making fun of the fact that I said, don't read. Oh, Fuck. Okay, no. The mic should be working now. I just fucking dropped everything. Yeah, no, I already read the screen one. This is what she wants me to share with the chat. She sent me this. She sent me this and said, let me check my notes, making fun of the fact I said, let me check my notes. Oh my God. I can't. Oh my God. This is a normal thing, by the way. This happens routinely. I'm dying. Fernando said the Empire Strikes Back is considered the many of best. I know it is. I can see why it's not my favorite at all, really, but I can see why people consider it the best. It's all contextual. Like, you got to think back at the time and all this other shit. Yeah, it is considered the best. I would not agree, but I get it. I would say maybe 3 is the best, or 6. People disagree with that. If you want to say 5 is the best, I totally get it. I would not hard disagree with that, but I'm just like, I watch it now and I'm like, oh, it's kind of just more transitional to me, but I get it. I know Grunt said Logan not having a Mania match, ? Perish the thought. Yeah, exactly. Don't tell Triple H you might have a heart attack. Another one. I too enjoyed that Survivor Series match quite a bit. Yeah, the one from 2016. That was from Toronto. Were you at that show, Grunt, or no? Shane's best match was with Kurt Angle at King of the Ring 01. No lies detected. Shane is the real best in the world. That's what they'll tell you if you watch Crown Jewel 2018. Rank Moxley, Jericho, and Hangman when it comes to importance to the launch of AEW Dynamite. That's a great question. I'm going to go Jericho 1. And people may not want to hear that, but Jericho was the biggest name they could have gotten that was free at that point. That really gave AEW some credibility out of the get-go. And at that point, he was doing some great work. So I would go Jericho 1. To the launch of AEW, Jericho 1, Moxley 2, Hangman 3. I think in that order. Hangman's great. Hangman is more important in the company now by far. But to the launch of AEW, it doesn't happen without Jericho, and Moxley also played a very big role. Nike fan said his favorite Shane matches were AJ and Shane, obviously. Miz and Shane versus the Usos at Chamber. That was a very good match. That might be on my list too. Chamber 18. And Shane and KO, either Hell in a Cell or the ladder match to ban Shane from WWE. Yeah, probably the ladder match. I didn't remember really liking the Hell in a Cell match. It kind of bored me. It was better than the Taker Cell match, but still not great. The fact that Shane has had like fucking 3 Cell matches, by the way, is crazy. Shane doing the best in the world shit. Shout out to Greg Hamilton. I hope the guy's doing well wherever he is. Oh my God, that was one of the worst periods in SmackDown history. That was so bad. Richie said Greg Hamilton was good. They could use him back. I liked Greg. I did not think he was great. I thought he was good. Hot take, I like the current guy better. Mark Nash, I think, is a lot better than Greg. I think he has more personality than Greg. They've had much better ring announcers than Greg. They've had worse ring announcers than Greg. I think Greg Hamilton's better than Alicia Taylor. Again, depends on what the question is. Psycho said Lizzie's dad's death was self-inflicted, unfortunately. Man, that sucks. That's really unfortunate. I did not know that. I was trying to find what happened, but I didn't really look too much into it. Woody and Buzz return to Toy Story 5, and it looks like Buzz is mad at Woody for leaving him. That's what it looked like in the trailer. Oh, okay. Well, maybe. Still not a worthy enough reason to make another movie, but okay. Bipolar disorder, apparently mental illness was something in his family. Very unfortunate. Man, that sucks. That is sad. Rest in peace. He said, Shia was a few years sober since 2022, but apparently was doing some method work in NOLA during Mardi Gras for a film he's working on, but he got his ass beat and was arrested. That is insane, man. I heard none of that. Shia LaBeouf has not been... Here's another thing, too. Unrelated but related. The For You page, I used to get a lot of news and shit from my For You page on Twitter. I had to switch it. It was so bad. It just mentally, it fucking drains you. It's so bad. That's how they get you with like constantly scrolling and refreshing. Now I know how people on TikTok feel when you're constantly looking at For You shit. I don't care about For You shit. If I wanted to fucking follow those accounts, I would follow them. I only want to look at who people I'm following. I'll stay in my bubble. But if it's important enough to break through to my bubble, or people that I know are talking about it, or I'll just watch it in the fucking news post or something, then I'll look at it that way. But I don't know. I don't know if that's something that just happened or not. But that's very interesting with Shia. I knew none of that. That is crazy. Side note, where the hell is Spider-Verse 3? Great question. I don't know. They tried to tell you a few years ago, oh, it's going to be out by March of 2024. Bro, that was 2 years ago. I know they had the strike and shit. That was years ago. That was crazy. Yeah, I don't know. They got to get... The fact they're taking this long, if it means they're going to make it good, then sure, that's fine. But still, they're taking too long. I'm selfish. I'm impatient. Fernando said, have you heard we are getting an animated Venom movie made by the directors of Final Destination Bloodlines? Yes, because my college roommate told me that, and he's a massive Venom fan, and I think he's hopeful about it. If he's hopeful about it, then I will be hopeful about it. I did see that. I will probably watch those, or the animated Venom movie or whatever. I would probably see that. It sounds interesting. The Shia thing happened last week, Daniel said. Then a random black woman bailed him out of jail because of her love for Stanley Yelnats from a holes. What? The fuck, man? That's crazy. I knew none of that. Yeah, the sound was down. I dropped my phone. That's why. Am I getting 2K26? Probably not, no. They don't have it on the last-gen consoles. Alexis has an Xbox I could use. I don't really, doesn't really, it's not really like I need to have the game. Like the fact that Punk's on the cover and they're doing the whole showcase mode, that sounds cool. If it was more like, I don't know, if it was already out on the game system I have, the PS4, then sure, but it's not, so probably not. But I might. The answer is probably not, though. Fernando, so we need Charlotte out of the Women's World Championship scene for she and Alexa can be in the Women's TLC at Mania. No. I think Charlotte's a better, because then what are we going to get, Tiffany and Jade at Mania? Fuck no, man. Raquel and Jade, no thanks. Eric said, why did Steph need to kick out of like 6 of Ronda's arm bars? Oh, Stephanie McMahon at Mania 34? Yeah, I don't know. That was kind of goofy. But the match was great, though. It's a lot of fun. Nathaniel said, oh, I forgot to read this one. Will Trevor be in Scream 7? I hope so, because I hope he dies. Hope he's the first one killed. Do I hope AJ Lee versus Becky is a one-off after Elimination Chamber? It will not be. They will absolutely continue feuding going into Mania. What are they going to have, Becky face fucking Maxine again at Mania? The feud's obviously continuing going into Mania. It's not a one-off, and I'm glad they're doing more than one match. Would I say The Godfather 2 insists upon itself? I'm sure that's a reference to the movie or something. I don't get the reference. You're going to have to enlighten me. You're going to have to enlighten me, Grunt. I did botch. Fernando said I'm Mexican and I didn't know it was happening in Mexico. Cut Graham some slack. Yeah, there you go. I did not know that. There's a lot of stuff I do know and do know that's going on, but I can't catch everything. Grunt said, CM Punk thinks the fantasy element of his WWE 2K26 showcase mode is a big hook for fans. And then Grunt said, that was a quote, and he said, that's only because the list of historical matches in Showcase is ass. I've heard it was not good. I've heard it's not good. Another reason to not get the game, by the way. Richie said, boycott 2K26. 2K can't keep getting away with charging an extreme amount of money for a game. Keep it a digital exclusive, but then have more content locked behind paywalls, forcing you to spend more. I agree with that. I mean, the boycott thing is whatever. I mean, boycott it if you want. But everything else you said, I completely agree with. I mean, it's the amount of... I'm not a gamer. Alexis can speak to this. You guys can speak to this. Some of these games I get for free just to review them and shit, but the amount of money they charge for some of these games is fucking highway robbery. For games that may not even end up being good. Now, I know it costs more the games cost more because they cost more to make or some shit. I get that. I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem worth it. Like, some of these games you're paying an arm and a leg to get, and sometimes they end up being ass, which leads to people getting less games or gaming less because they don't want to pay an exorbitant amount of money for a game that may not be complete or might be terrible at launch or whatever. Totally agree with all of that. Eric said, rank all the women's world champions for a video right now. Please rank the 4 pillars. Well, I'm not doing the video right now, but women's world champions I could maybe do. Please rank the 4 pillars. What are the 4 pillars? The AEW 4 pillars? If I had to rank the AEW 4 pillars, it would be Sammy Guevara at the bottom, Jack Perry after that, MJF is 1, and then Darby Allin. I mean, that's pretty simple, if that's what you're talking about. Grunt said, yep, I was there for that Goldberg-Lesnar match, in quotes he said. If it wasn't for the men's Survivor Series match, show would have been a dud for sure. I actually didn't mind the show at the time, but watching it back and looking at that card, yeah, that show was not good. And we've talked about it before, Grunt, but you guys got fucked. You were supposed to get Ziggler and Zayn, which I'm sure we got at some other point, but we ended up getting Miz and Zayn instead, and it was whatever. Kalisto and fucking, what was it, Baron Corbin got involved. Was it Kalisto and like Brian Kendrick or something or whatever? And it just wasn't, like, it was disappointing. The men's Survivor Series match is great. Goldberg and Lesnar I was pissed at, and I still find that stupid. Fernando said, Graham finds every classic sequel ever made overrated. Not true. Just, I think Godfather 2 is slightly overrated. I get it. I'm not going to sit here and call it trash. I'm just saying we watched the movie and I'm like, okay. I mean, overrated by today's standards. I get why it was a classic movie at the time. I understand why it was considered one of the greatest movies ever made at the time. I totally understand that. But some things they just don't age as well, and I think that's one of them. Slightly overrated. Like what? Every classic sequel, Back to the Future 2 is not overrated. I know you didn't ask that, but that's a classic sequel. That's not overrated. Terminator 2, have never seen it. I could probably guarantee you it's not overrated though. Again, I mean, he even said, Fernando said, I didn't even bother to watch T2. I haven't seen any of the Terminator movies. So it's part of the problem. Richie said, Alicia Taylor, a.k.a. Cynthia from Rugrats. She does kind of look like her. That is true. Nike fan said, top 3 favorite sodas of all time. Interesting question. Coke, Pepsi. I don't really like much else soda-wise, to be honest with you. I would drink Diet, but like Mountain Dew, I'm not saying they're trash or anything. I'm not going to sit here and say they're garbage. I just don't like them. Like orange soda, Dr. Pepper. I don't really care about that stuff. So Coke 1, Pepsi 2. Depends on the day. My answers might flip, but that's really about it. Grunt said, I'll throw out a potential movie sequel hot take. Alien over Aliens. Interesting. That's not a... It might be a hot take. I'm not going to say... Alexis agrees with you. I think Aliens was better. I think Alien was great. I think Aliens was better. So I actually disagree with that. But they are 2 very good movies, though. They're very good. We watched them for the first time a few years ago. Alexis said, also I had to leave TikTok in October because seeing all the news and shit, mentally I wasn't doing well with it. Well, there you go. Take that as a lesson. Not you, but I'm saying for people in general. I just, the For You page garbage. They know, it's smart on their end to do that because it gets you hooked on shit, but it's just the amount of dumb shit I was seeing on my timeline. And it was also a lot of the same shit. I'm like, I should have done this a long time ago. It's just fucking, what a waste of time. Animated Venom could be fun. I agree, Grunt. He also said, I'm looking also forward to the Clayface horror movie. Me too. I saw it got pushed from September to October, which is cool. Because it kind of fits more in the October Halloween time vibe. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that too. I don't know really what it's going to be about, or there's no trailer out or anything, but I am, if it's coming from James Gunn DC, then I'm excited for it. Did I enjoy the last Spider-Verse movie? Yes, it was amazing. We actually saw that on my birthday because it came out on my birthday a few years ago, and the movie was awesome. Genuinely, I think that was a 5-star movie. That movie was awesome. And the first one's also great. What if Shane's in the box? Just kill me now, Fernando. Just kill me now. Do I think Alicia Taylor would be a good Storm? No. No. Even Jade would not. Jade is the closest thing to Storm in WWE, and I don't even know if she would do well acting-wise. But if anyone in WWE was going to be Storm, how could it be anyone but Jade Cargill? We are now wishing death on Big Trevor, Daniel. I'm sorry to say, but Trevor can be the first one to die in Scream 7. Favorite pizza toppings? Again, I'm a basic bitch. I just like cheese pizza, but if I were to get pizza toppings, either sausage or buffalo chicken, but it depends on where you're getting the buffalo chicken from. Sometimes it's sloppy and it's messy and it's not good. I've gotten barbecue chicken, so I guess I do have 3. Sausage 1, I feel like that's always great regardless. Sausage 1, Buffalo chicken 2, close second, and barbecue chicken 3. I think I've had like meat on a potato, like hamburger meat on pizza before. That's also really good. That exceeded my expectations. I tried that and really liked it. I feel like I've had mashed potato pizza. I don't remember. I would be willing to try it. I feel like I may have tried it and liked it, but I don't remember. But those are the top 3. I'm actually not a pepperoni fan. I would eat pepperoni. I'm not going to throw up, but it's not my favorite thing. What's the worst sequel that you have ever seen, and what is the very best sequel I've ever seen? Well, Back to the Future 2, first of all. Worst sequel might very well be Strangers 2. Those are 2 obvious answers because I just recently watched Strangers, so it's easy for me to say that. But Strangers 2 might be one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Also, Zoolander 2 was also absolute dog shit. One of the worst movies I had ever seen. That came out, I literally saw it, I think, exactly 10 years ago. Either today or yesterday. We had President's Day off, my roommate and I. We went to go see it. I loved the first movie, so I'm like, okay, this could be fun. Came out fucking 15 years too late. It was so bad. I chuckled maybe once. So bad. So, Zoolander 2 and Strangers 2. Part 2, the one that came out last year. Grunt said, it insists upon itself as a Family Guy bit where Peter talks about not liking The Godfather because it insists upon itself. Oh, okay, there you go. I did not know the reference, but that is funny. Oh, Joker 2 as well. Alexis mentioned Joker 2. Yeah, that movie's so bad. Joker 2 is pretty bad. We can do Jade versus Rhea, Tiffany versus Julia, Becky and AJ. Jade and Rhea I like. I don't see them doing that, though. I like that better than Jade and Tiffany. Tiffany and Julia I like. I don't see them making the Mania card. And Becky and AJ make sense, and I think we're going to get that. Let's see. We're closing in on current questions here before we get to the scheduled shit. Well, let's see. Worst sequel, Alexis said, worst sequel on A Disgrace to Movies, Joker 2. Still mad at me for making her see it. And best sequel is probably a Star Wars movie or Spider-Verse 2, but I know I'm missing one. Yeah. Any of those, yeah. I mean, you could absolutely say Empire Strikes Back. I love the third one. Are those really sequels, though? Because they're meant to be like a trilogy. That's the thing. Yeah. Yeah, all of you guys hate Joker, too, as you should. That movie was absolute garbage. Let's see. Fernando said, are you happy with the news that we are getting a 4-year time jump for Spider-Man Brand New Day? I mean, it makes sense. I didn't really have I didn't have any feelings towards it one way or the other. I mean, the last one came out 5 years ago. So, I mean, there kind of needs to be a time jump. What, are we going to still pretend fucking Peter Parker is 18 years old when in reality he's like 28? That'd be ridiculous. And I know that was the case with the first Spider-Man movie, by the way. I know Tobey Maguire was like 30 when he was supposed to be like 16 or some shit. I know, but it's still dumb even in retrospect. My favorite Disney Channel original movie, Eric says, is Brink. That's an underrated one. That's a great movie. Isn't that with Eric Matthews from Boy Meets World? It's the skating movie, and I think he's the main star. Brink was really good. Late 90s, early 2000s Disney Channel original movies. I mean, you have the holiday ones, or Ultimate Christmas Present, Mom's Gonna Date with a Vampire, Rip Lizzie McGuire's Dad, like I just said, Halloween Town, of course. But you have Johnny Tsunami, Brink, you mentioned as well. What other ones came out around that time? Oh, Phantom of the Megaplex, that's a Halloween one, but that's also a great one. Double Teamed from the early 2000s. I should do a fucking tier list on Disney Channel original movies. All of those were... by the standards of Disney Channel, they were very good movies. It was indeed the musical, Eric. Joker 2 was awful. The Dark Knight or Captain America Winter Soldier. Oh, Dark Knight, of course. Winter Soldier is phenomenal. Winter Soldier I love. Dark Knight legit might be, if it's not the greatest sequel of all time, it's top 3. Has to be. It's so great, I didn't even see the first one until a few years ago. I saw Dark Knight like 10 times when it first came out. I never saw Batman Begins. And I watched it recently, and it was okay. It's a good movie. I mean, I don't know if it's a great movie, but it was good. Dark Knight's incredible. That's a 5-star movie. Fernando said, according to a lot of reports, the Big Show has lost a lot of weight and is planning a return to the ring in AEW. God bless, because those last couple matches he had were dog shit. So, I mean, that's concerning. He really should just wrap it up. If it's a simple come back to the ring to do a 10-second match, then fine. But a full-on match, I fear for his well-being. Grunt said, I wouldn't mind seeing Big Show pop up in a casino gauntlet personally, he said. Yeah, again, for a quick cameo maybe. Other than that, I don't really need to see him back in the ring at all. It's got to be something quick, though. Johnny's right, though. Spider-Man 2 is an amazing sequel. X-Men 2. X2 is fantastic. It might be... I don't know if it's the best X-Men movie. It probably is, actually. It's better than the first one, better than the third one, better than a lot of the, Days of Future Past is great. It might be better than that. John Wick 2. I like John Wick 2. I think the first one was better, and the third one I liked more, too. And the fourth one. But John Wick 2 is good as well. Fernando said thoughts on reports that David Finlay might sign with AEW instead of WWE. It sounds like contract negotiations with WWE have hit a snag. I would not be surprised. I think of the two companies, he should probably... AEW would be a better fit, but here's the thing. I said this last week. In either company, he will get lost in the shuffle. Anyone acting like David Finlay should be on the main roster tomorrow, doing fucking what, bro? Like, they have so many people already in Raw and SmackDown that they're not using or doing enough with. The fuck is David Finlay going to do? I mean, it's not AJ Styles in 2016. David Finlay is great. But AJ Styles, like, it's not Kenny Omega in 2019 where it's like, oh, you got to push this guy on the main roster. It's not. I mean, if they put Ricky Starks in NXT first, they really should put someone like David Finlay in NXT first. And people think that's like a death knell for fucking David Finlay. NXT is not good right now, but, I mean, it is developmental at the end of the day. So if he doesn't want to go to NXT first, I get it, but he would probably have to go to NXT first. He'd be better off. If he went to Raw or SmackDown, he'd be fucked. If he went to NXT first, I feel like there's a better chance of him finding success. In AEW, I think he would do well, but what do you even do with him? Put him with the Bang Bang Gang or something? Like, I genuinely do not know. I wanted to sign to the big promotion. He really should leave New Japan, but what does he do? I don't know. They got to find the right role for him. I think in AEW, there's a better chance he would do well, not get fired, be successful, be on TV more. I agree, Grunt. I feel like he would get paired up with Kid and Connors. But like, would he just be the third wheel in that group? Like, that to me just feels like Bang Bang Gang 2.0, like another version of Bullet Club. That's not a bad spot for him to be in. It's better than whatever the fuck he'd probably do in WWE. I would love to see David Finlay in WWE, provided they knew what to do with him and had a plan for him. I don't see that happening. In the current state of creative in WWE, no chance they bring him in and push him as anything more than a mid-carder on NXT from the get-go. What was wrong with Spider-Man 2, Johnny? Nothing. It's a great sequel. He was saying it's the best sequel, not the worst. Grunt said, apparently Brand New Day and maybe Doomsday will be Tom Holland's last role as Spider-Man, according to a friend of mine. That would not shock me. He's older. He wants to do other shit. I'm honestly kind of surprised he's still doing it because it sounded like he was going to be done after No Way Home. So that wouldn't shock me, though. They'll probably recast after Doomsday or Secret Wars. I don't even think he'll be in Doomsday, but maybe he will be. We'll see. Did I like Jesse, Nathaniel asked? The show on Disney Channel? I never watched it. That was after my time. I stopped watching Disney Channel like around the time I got into wrestling, so like 08. Late 08, early 09, probably not even 09. I think I was Disney Channel I was with until like 08. So Jesse came out a few years after that. I wouldn't mind a Spider-Man Ultimate adaptation, unlimited adaptation, he said. I don't know what that is, but I trust you that it would be good. Fernando said we might get the Peter Parker becoming the huge mutant spider for a little while in Brand New Day. Yeah, cool. Okay. That would be, I would be down for it. I don't know if that'll be good or not, but okay, sure. Have I seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? Yes. I know they're coming out with a second one. I did not like the movie the first time I saw it. We saw it in theaters. I did not like it. I was so dumb. I didn't really know about the whole Manson murders thing. That was what it was supposed to be. I genuinely did not know that when I was watching the movie. Knowing that in retrospect, the last stretch of that movie is spectacular. The overall movie didn't really do much for me, but then I rewatched it like a year or so later and honestly liked it a lot more. So yeah, I have seen it. It's a very good movie. And I'll probably watch the Clint Booth sequel on Netflix. Assuming it's good. If I hear it's garbage, then maybe not, but I'll probably see it. Johnny says AEW needs to put a hold on signing people right now. Both companies do, but they won't. I mean, David Finlay belongs in one of the promotions, so they probably should sign him all they can. Honestly, I think ideally he should go to TNA. He'd be a bigger fish there and a smaller pond out of the get-go. Who's in your comic book character Mount Rushmore? I'm not a comic book guy. I just go off of the movies that I've seen, but I don't know. Wolverine, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Captain America, probably. I don't know. I can't really answer that. Tom Holland will retire, and we will be introduced to Miles Morales in the MCU, Nike said. I would love that. That would be great. Is Tatum a top 5 pure character in NXT, Eric asked? Pure character? Yeah, she's a great character. She might be one of the better people in NXT, period, right now, because everyone else is just kind of stale for the most part. Not everyone, but Tatum's great. I like Tatum a lot. Grunt said, reading on Reddit, so grain of salt, that he'll be mentoring Miles in the next 2 movies after Brand New Day. Fuck yeah, that'd be awesome. I don't know if that's true. I have not heard that at all, but that would be great. I don't know if he'd be mentoring him in like the next 2 movies. I feel like they would just write him off and then they would just introduce Miles. But I don't know. Random question. Would I box a kangaroo for money? Oh my God. What is that in? There is a... Oh, it was a Bob Barker bit where they like had to box a fucking like monkey or something like that. That's what I'm thinking of. It depends how much money we're talking about here, Fernando. Nike said, did you see the guy from National Treasure is playing Spider-Man, El Noir, or something like that? Yeah, Nicolas Cage. I saw the trailer. Looks weird as fuck. I will watch the show. That might be terrible, but the show might be bad, but it also could be great. I am definitely watching it, though. Spider-Man Unlimited was an animated show that was a sequel to the original. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the guy from National Treasure. Yeah, seriously. Honestly, that's how a lot of people, like younger people, might remember him. Not all the other stuff that he'd done prior to that point, but that's how the first thing that I think of Nicolas Cage is from is that. Literally is National Treasure. Because honestly, those movies are great. Both movies are great. Would you guys want Hulk to be a villain in Spider-Man Brand New Day? No, because we know he wouldn't really be a villain. It's not like he's turning heel. He could be, but like, that's... On paper, it doesn't sound interesting to me. Grunt said, thoughts on Ring of Honor staping in Jacksonville and that potentially becoming the new permanent home for the promotion. I think that'd be great. They did try doing that at Universal. Where did they originally tape Ring of Honor when they rebooted the show a few years ago? And that was a different atmosphere. I like that. And then they stopped, and it's been running before Dynamite ever since. I don't know if they would stick with that in Jacksonville. But it looks cool. It looks like a cool venue, so I'm down. Anything is different. Anything is different than what they got going on right now, which is just boring as shit. So I'm on board for the change. I think it's cool. Hopefully it helps the show, and maybe it leads to a TV deal. Who knows? Probably not, but you never know. Eric said, I love Tekla, but her title run has been such a dud to me. Eric, is that a serious question? Eric. I love you, Eric. But let me just check my notes here. You're saying Tekla's title run has been a dud. Tekla has been the AEW Women's World Champion for a whopping, hold on, bear with me now, 13 days. How can her reign be a dud if she just won the belt less than 2 weeks ago? And genuinely, I would actually say the opposite. She has not really done much as champion so far in the 2 weeks she has been champion. But she gives off... I've become a bigger Tekla fan every time I see her. She's got a great look. She can talk. She's obviously very good in the ring. She's honestly one of the best parts of AEW right now. I don't know if that's a stretch or if I'm exaggerating, but Tekla is really good, man. Like, she's probably one of the hottest... the hottest act in that women's division. Like, even... I think she's even more captivating than Mercedes Moné. Her gimmick, I think, sucks. Mercedes, I think, is an amazing wrestler. But as a character, she just does nothing for me. Even more than Timeless Toni Storm, which has kind of gotten a little stagnant. Tekla's awesome. So, no, I think Tekla is the perfect fit for that title right now. There's just something about her makes you want to watch her. I love that last stretch of the most too, Johnny said. Yeah, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's phenomenal. Fernando said, that wrestler who takes his front teeth out of NXT is one of the dumbest gimmicks ever. I actually like Shiloh Hill. We saw him first in LFG. The teeth thing is stupid. I agree. He looks cool without the teeth. But like the whole the taking the teeth out and he acts like Festus is ridiculous. I do like Shiloh Hill. He has potential, I think. The gimmick is kind of dumb. I agree. But I do like Shiloh Hill. Should Doomsday move its release date to get all the IMAX theaters? No, I mean, to what? Like, the only thing they would move it to is the week before. But then I don't think they want to show weakness by like, we're not going to move for Dune. So I don't know. I'm not sure what they do. I don't give a fuck about Dune, to be honest with you. That shit's overrated to me, too. I think the Dune movies are just... The first one was dog shit. The second movie was definitely better, but it was still boring for the most part. But yeah, Doomsday would have to move the week before because the week after is Christmas. So it would have to be like December 11th. And I think they want that movie coming out closer to Christmas like Avatar did. Avatar came out in the same weekend the last couple times those movies have come out. Eric, you're saying, what has she done with one vignette and she interrupted Thunder? Brother, she's been champion for 2 weeks. She's been champion for 13 days. What can she do as champion in 13 days? Yeah, she had one vignette that was good. And she interrupted Thunder Rosa. That was one of the best parts of Collision the other day. Come on, man. I agree with Grunt. He said 13 days, dude. Come on. You're reaching big time here. Come on, man. That's you said you're not excited for Thunder Rosa and Tekla. That's fine. Am I hyped for it? I'm not hyped for it. I'm looking forward to it. I think the Thunder Rosa is great. She's been kind of cooled off considerably in the last 3 or 4 years, but I like Thunder Rosa. I'm not hyped for it, but I'm looking forward to it. I mean, how can you argue that she's not done anything? Sure, she's not done anything. It's been 2 fucking weeks. If she's not on the show for the next month, then I would agree with you. But it's been 13 days. There's been all of one Dynamite since she won the title, and she won the title in the main event of Dynamite. She won it as the biggest deal possible. They recapped it. They showed a vignette with her on Collision that week. She was in a vignette last week on Dynamite. She interrupted Thunder. Like, she's at least being featured in different forms on these shows in the last 13 days. It's not like she won the title and she disappeared. So, completely disagree. Star Wars character Mount Rushmore from just the movies. Oh, I don't know. There's so many. Vader, obviously. Obi-Wan. I'm going to give basic answers. I love Chewbacca, so Chewbacca. Boba Fett. Boba Fett's underrated. I think people like Boba Fett. In the movies, he's kind of garbage, but I like Boba Fett. Yeah, I guess that'd be my 4. Luke, I guess you could say. Luke would not be in my Mount Rushmore. Like, what is your question? Like, the best, my favorite, underrated, I don't know. Coolest, Han Solo, I don't know. Have I watched any movie in IMAX 70mm? I may have, I don't remember. I don't go to movies thinking, oh, I got to see it in IMAX. I genuinely just see it on whatever screen's available. I probably have. I don't remember. Probably not, but I don't remember. Dune 1 and 2 are amazing in my eyes, Johnny said. Most people would agree, and that's fine. I completely disagree. I didn't like the movies at all. Dune 1 was boring as fuck. And it's almost like it was just like that was it. Like, I watched the whole movie. It was 3 hours of what felt like nothing. 2 is definitely better. 1 was like, what the fuck was that? What did I just watch? Thrawn or Darth Maul? Great question. I'm going to go Maul, but Thrawn is very close. Thrawn is awesome. Would I rather be friends and hang out with Marty or Doc Brown? Doc Brown. I feel like we'd have more in common. Marty, I mean, really either one, but I'll go with Doc Brown. Eric said, maybe because I'm looking at this, like Tatum's, when she was champion, she was wrestling every week. Yeah, but Tekla doesn't have to be, again, it's been one Dynamite. She's been on one Dynamite. She's only been, we haven't even got Dynamite from tomorrow yet. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Tatum was champion for like fucking 3 weeks. I mean, yeah, she wrestled every week, but okay, that's not Tekla. She's not going to wrestle every week. I don't even think she should. Am I excited for National Treasure 3? Yes, if it gets made. Is it getting made? I mean, I've heard nothing about that. I've heard there's rumors, or I heard a while ago it was getting made or something. I'm going to look it up. National Treasure 3. It's in active development and gaining momentum. Yeah, there's no... now it's got a director or something. Teased by producer in December. I don't know. I'm not really seeing any significant updates. But I'm looking forward to it. I love those movies. I love National Treasure. So if they make a third one, hey, fucking, why not? Should have been made a long time ago, but better late than never. Let's see. MJF and Hangman talking about Stips. Meanwhile, I'm begging for them to add one to FTR and the Bucks. Tour to their Falls match, a cage match, something. I agree. I mean, the first 3 Bucks and FTR matches did not have Steps. The fourth one was a ladder match. To go back to a regular match is kind of underwhelming. I would do a fifth match with a step. I agree. They probably won't, but I wish they would. I agree with you on that. Spider-Man spinoff is getting rebooted. Which Spider-Man spinoff? Which one are you talking about, Nathaniel? Nike said, I met my new neighbor a few days ago. He told me his name was Marty. I almost said McFly, but I thought he wouldn't have gotten the movie reference. Is he young? I mean, if he's older than the age of 25, I would hope he would understand the reference. But there are a lot of younger people who have never seen Back to the Future and don't get the reference, and that is very fucking sad. I assume you're talking to a child here, because if it's anyone older than 25, they absolutely should understand who Marty McFly is. Was I a Mighty Ducks fan growing up? Good question. The movies, yeah, I did like the movies. My brother liked the movies more. My older brother did. I watched them with him. I don't remember the movies like start to finish or anything, but I did enjoy the movies, yeah. They were good. Grunt said, there's a chance since FTR made it personal by attacking their family on Collision. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that was a great angle, by the way, from the end of Collision on Saturday when they attacked the family and laid out the brother. I thought that was well done. How does a 60-minute Iron Team match sound? I think they can make the most of it and have a great match. We've seen FTR in basically what was an Iron match before. I don't think they would do an Iron Man match with the two teams, though, on pay-per-view. They did do one official Iron Man match on pay-per-view at Revolution in 2023, but that was the main event with Bryan and MJF. I genuinely don't think they would do a tag team Iron Man match on pay-per-view. That would be cool, though. Maybe start with 30 and then go to 60. But they can make it work. I mean, they have great chemistry, so I feel like that would be a great stipulation. I'd be totally on board with that. They did a 30-minute Iron Man match with the Hardys and The Bar back in 2017. I want to say at the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, and it was great. Nike said he's our age. Okay, if he's our age, then he should get the reference. If he doesn't, then you should fucking tell him to move, because he's not worthy of being your neighbor. You said Kraken, Nathaniel, as far as this, they're rebooting Madam Web and Craven. At this point, I need to see some quality product before I care about either one of them. Both of those movies sucked. Craven was better than Madam Web, but both movies were not good. They were not good. So they would need to be proven to be quality projects. Maybe if they're animated, they would be better, but live action, a lot of the Spumpsy, the Sony Spider-Man universe shit has been fucking garbage. I like the Venom movies, but Madam Web, Morbius, Craven all sucked. They were all not good. So they would really need a pretty significant creative reboot for those movies to be like remotely good. All right, so we're going to go to the scheduled questions now. We will go back to the chat in a little bit. Let's get through these real quick and then go back to the chat, then head on out of here. Jordan B. from YouTube asked, what are some of your favorite matches from the first year you started watching wrestling? It's a good question. For me, I started watching wrestling in 2008. So Edge and Taker, Hell in a Cell is one of my favorite matches, period, from SummerSlam that year. Love that match. Batista and Shawn Michaels from One Night Stand, the stretcher match. Excellent match. The Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 24. Jericho and Shawn ladder match, No Mercy, 2008. What else? There's some really good matches from 08. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what else. The whole Jericho-Shawn Michaels feud was amazing. What else from that year? Nothing from like Great American Bash. SummerSlam I enjoyed. Punk was in some good stuff that year. Those would be the main matches probably. I like the scramble matches. I actually enjoyed those for what they were. Survivor Series didn't really have a whole bunch. You know what? Cena and Batista. I like that match too from SummerSlam. So those are some of my favorite matches from that year. Kofi and Punk winning the tag titles on Raw, I also really liked. Regal and Randy Orton on Raw. It's not a great match, but it got me into wrestling. So that whole storyline with Regal was great. They had a lot of great stories in 08. The matches kind of weren't always amazing, but a lot of great stories going on in 2008 in WWE. Nike Fan 01, I wanted to ask you, out of all of John Cena's title wins, do you have a favorite title that he won from a match? Good question. I don't think I do. Him winning his 16th WWE title from AJ was an amazing match. It might be that one. I was there when he won the WWE title last year from Cody. That match sucked. And then the IC Championship, I was there when he won that. on Raw last year. That was a cool moment. I actually didn't want him to win the title, so I would not say that was my favorite. But I'm trying to think of what else. All of his World Championship wins, a lot of which I wasn't a fan of. Him and Rey Mysterio, I hated that he beat Rey for the belt in like an hour on Raw back in July of 2011. But that match was great. So I don't love the fact that he won, but the match was great. Trying to think of what else. Him and Rock from 29, no. Any of the World Heavyweight Championship victories, no. Him winning at WrestleMania 25, no. His first title win, no. Maybe him and Edge from Unforgiven 06. It's not my favorite, but that was a great match. And he got booed, but, they were in Canada, so I get it. His next question, why do you think that nobody talks about the Joey Styles I Quit promo as much as people talk about the CM Punk and MJF pipe bomb promos? And if you had to rank all three from worst to best, how would you rank them? People still talk about the Joey one, not remotely as much, though, because it wasn't as good. The MJF promo from 2022, if that's the one you're talking about, and the Punk one, obviously, we're both much better. Styles was a random fucking commentator who was barely in WWE on television. He's not like this great character in the history of WWE. He wasn't. It was a commentator complaining about being booted off of Backlash. Like, it was a cool shoot promo. It was something different for the time, and it's a great promo. It's very memorable. The Punk one literally, changed the industry. People look at that and say that was the reason why I got back into wrestling, changed the trajectory of his career. The MJF promo also kind of changed his trajectory, too, because before that promo, he was losing a lot. He was kind of like upper mid-card. That promo led him to coming back as a main eventer and winning the world title. So those promos are just better than the Joey one, but the Joey one is good. It's just not the same thing. His third question, do you think if WWE is forced to continue lowering ticket prices to events and block fans in a 50-mile radius from watching at bars, it will force TKO to eventually sell WWE to another buyer? And if so, where do you see it going next? So this is where the headline question for today's video comes from. No, it will not. TKO will not be forced to ever get rid of WWE. The whole reason, I don't know what one has to do with the other. WWE lowering ticket prices and blocking fans and all this other shit because people aren't coming to their shows is a direct byproduct of TKO, them wanting to raise the prices. That is their mentality. Not that it's not WWE's. I'm sure they're money hungry too. They're very greedy. They always have been. But that is absolutely an edict coming from the top of TKO. WWE, are you saying, I don't know if your question is, if they start not doing well, lowering the ticket prices, that's a TKO call because they want more people in the buildings, as they should. If your question is, if they start not doing as well, will TKO be forced to sell WWE? They will not be forced to sell WWE. Will they eventually sell it? I think there's a very decent chance. Down the road, yes. Anytime soon, no. They're so heavily embedded with WWE, in bed with WWE, and have been for a few years now. It's still too early, and the business isn't doing poorly enough to justify dumping them. I mean, if they were doing the business they were doing a decade ago where no one gave a fuck about the products, no one was at the shows, and the viewership was higher than it was now, but it was still not good for the time, then sure, then I could totally see that. But they're still doing well enough to where they don't need to sell. So eventually, forced to sell? No. They will never be forced to sell. They will only sell to be like, hey, we don't want to be in bed with you anymore. This is making us look bad. I mean, it's not like TKO is fucking Netflix. Or if TKO dumps, for example, if Netflix dumps Raw, it will not have any drastic effect on Netflix at all. It would on WWE, but not on Netflix. It's the same thing like with SmackDown. Fox did not need SmackDown. I don't know why they paid a disgusting amount of money to get SmackDown for 2019. I have no idea why, because the show had never been worse at that point. But they paid a stupid amount of money for SmackDown. For the most part, got a shitty product up until close to the end. But by that point, they were like, the ratings aren't really worth it for us to keep the show. Although the show was great at points in 2022 and mostly 2023 and 2024, they still dumped it anyway. And it went to USA Network. But Fox lost nothing. I mean, they're not regretting losing SmackDown. I'm sure they're better off not paying a stupid amount of money for a show that was not bringing in the amount of money they may have expected it to. They were deceived into getting a better product than what they got at the time when they bought it in 2019. My point is that TKO is not Fox and they're not Netflix. TKO really is WWE and they are UFC. if they were to dump WWE for a hotter product like Bellator or something like that, not Bellator, but I don't know, something like that, then sure. But they want to encompass all of these combat sports, and a lot of them are making them money. They have no reason to want to ditch WWE. WWE is still making them a lot of money. And I know they're in debt, but every major company is. That's what it is. But I'm just saying, they'll never be forced to sell WWE. And if there's a time where they want to drop it, there's a good chance that could happen. I see that being no time soon. But again, TKO would need them. I don't know. I just think WWE has survived on its own for so long before they got bought, where if they're on their own, they're fine. It's not a good look if TKO sells them. Maybe WWE would sell to like a Netflix or something like that. But TKO is not established enough on its own because they only started that. They only really merged with Endeavor and UFC and shit only 3 years ago. Like, it's a very new company. They're not going to dump WWE for like fucking AEW or something. Like, it's not going to make them the same amount of money. So no, I don't see them selling anytime soon. Selling down the road, yes. But that might be more of a WWE call than a TKO call. Maybe WWE feels they don't need TKO anymore, or they want to be back to being privately owned. I don't know. It's very possible, but I see that being no time soon, to answer your question. No L from Facebook. What would be your top 5 Elimination Chamber moments of all time? Well, I wrote there in WWE. I wrote there Shawn Michaels winning in 2002. I think that's a great chamber moment in Madison Square Garden, winning the World Heavyweight Championship that night, his second match back in WWE. Shawn Michaels, speaking of whom, also costing Taker in 2010 at the end of the World Heavyweight Championship chamber match. Costing Taker the title, setting up their Mania rematch for 26. Great moment. Goldberg spear. I mean, I think the SummerSlam 03 chamber match, I think, is not good. It's very weak, and the ending sucks. It's not a great chamber match, and it's very forgettable. But Goldberg spearing, I think it was Jericho, through the chamber was great. That was a great moment. So I can't come up with 5, but those are the top 3. Kofi's little move off the chamber wall. It's not the greatest of all time, but it was a pretty cool spot where he like ran up the wall or some shit and hit a DDT on Dolph. I think that would have been 2012. Was pretty cool. WWE actually just put up a whole compilation of best chamber moments inside the chamber the other day on their channel. So go back and check that out. But those are a few of my favorites and a few that stand out. They also asked, do you see either Io Sky or Rhea Ripley breaking up after WrestleMania, or Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair breaking up before WrestleMania? I don't think Bliss and Charlotte break up before Mania. I know that might be the easy answer to say they break up before Mania, they face each other at Mania. I don't see that happening. I think they'd either team at Mania or they would both be involved in the Women's World title match at Mania. So I don't see them breaking up before Mania. Io and Rhea, I also don't think break up before Mania. It doesn't feel like we're any closer to a split with those two, even if they were to drop the tag titles. And break up as far as like turn on each other, I don't even think that happens. I think there's just a better chance they go off and do their own thing. I don't see that happening right after Mania either. I think WWE might want to keep them at least as allies on the show for a while longer. So I don't see either split being imminent. If anything, I think Charlotte and Alexa break up first. But even that would not be in the next, at least until after Mania, like I said. Justin K. from Facebook asked, biggest bullshit moment, finger poke of doom or Jeff Hardy's Victory Road 2011 situation? Definitely the latter. The finger poke of doom is garbage. It's one of the worst booking moments of all time in wrestling history. The Victory Road situation was just embarrassing because that shit could have been avoided. It was a real life situation. Someone could have seriously been hurt had Hardy wrestled that night. It made TNA look bad. It made Hardy look bad. Sting had to rush to the finish. He was embarrassed by it. People paid for a main event, like $50, $60 for that pay-per-view, and they were gypped on a 3-minute match. It might have been 90 seconds. The Victory Road thing was way worse, so I would go with that. Better on the mic, CM Punk or Killer Kross, and why? Not even sure why this is a question. The answer is obviously CM Punk. I like Killer Kross a lot. I mean, his promos in WWE were great, but Punk's are way better consistently. Punk feels real. He feels authentic. He also just has better creative, too. Killer Kross never really had that in WWE for great creative. But a lot of his promos kind of followed the Bray Wyatt formula where they would be well delivered, but he said a whole lot of nothing in a short amount of time, or it wouldn't lead to anything, or they were cryptic, they were boring. Punk felt real. When he speaks, most of the time, it feels like it's must-see. He's being himself. He's pissed. He's breaking the fourth wall sometimes. And it's been that way for a very long time. He feels genuine when he speaks. Not that Killer Kross doesn't, but a lot of his words are like, okay, like, what did he just say? Is this leading anywhere? Is this important? Most of the time, and even, especially in WWE, it wasn't. And it's not like I've seen all these great promos from him on the indies. He's cutting good promos, but Punk's promos, are definitely better. His third question, watching back on all of the TLCs between the Hardys, the Dudleys, and Edge and Christian, why do you think Edge and Christian were booked to win both matches rather than the Hardys, who I felt had a lot of momentum in the matches? I think the Hardys won other matches on other shows, but when it mattered most, they always wanted Edge and Christian to win because they were probably, in their eyes, the best team of the three. They were the biggest stars, and they really wanted to push Edge and Christian as single stars when they broke up in 2001. They wanted to have great single success as well. I don't know if they saw that with the Hardys, even in the early 2000s. I don't know. I don't know if it was they did that on purpose to be like, Edge and Christian have to win every time. The Hardys beat Edge and Christian a whole lot in other matches, but when it mattered most, it was always Edge and Christian. They wanted them to be either the masters of TLC, or it just worked out that way where they didn't remember that they won the year prior, and it just made more sense for them to retain the titles or to win the titles on any given occasion. So I don't know if there was any real reason for it, aside from it just being coincidental, or them, WWE, wanted to make Edge and Christian the real masters of the TLC match. We have two questions left. Let me, I know that question there at the end was cut off. Give me one sec. Let me move my thing here real quick. Fuck. Move it up here. Boom. So you guys can see the rest of the questions. All right. Last two questions from @UAgu91 from Twitter. He said, it's Tuesday. You know what that means. If Mr. Brody Lee was still alive, do you think that the Dark Order would have corrupted Adam Page into turning heel instead of contributing to lowering his insecurities? Interesting question. Also, there we go. Those are the rest of the questions. Do you think Dark Order would have corrupted Adam Page into turning heel instead of corrupting? No, I don't think Adam Page would have ever turned heel and joined Dark Order. I think that was always like the feud that Matt Hardy had with Page was really the feud that Adam Page was going to have with Brody Lee. Adam Page was always going to get the title from Kenny Omega. It was not going to lead to him going heel. He may have aligned with Dark Order and turned them babyface, but I don't think they were ever going to turn Adam Page heel for any significant time, if at all, before he won the world title in 2021. @UAgu91, no disrespect to Brody Lee, but should Dark Order disband? Yes, they should have disbanded 4 years ago. The group has been on its last legs for at least 3 or 4 years. It's not interesting. They're a job crew. I know WWE feels, or AEW feels, Tony Khan feels, there's certain loyalty to them because it was Brody Lee's group. But the group has sucked for a long time now. Not interesting. They're on Ring of Honor. Cool. They haven't updated their shtick in a very long time. I think they were heels. They went back babyface. Okay, who gives a shit? I don't know. I would disband the group. Not that anyone would even notice anyway. Your thoughts on Swerve Strickland turning back heel, he asked. Great angle. I think Swerve's a great heel. He was a babyface for about 2 years, a little over 2 years, so turning him heel makes sense. To work with Omega, maybe Page again at some point. Even MJF, even as a heel versus heel dynamic, you could do it. So thought it was great. Great way to switch things up with Swerve. Thought it was a great ending to Dynamite, and they had a great match on the show on Wednesday. Looking forward to seeing what they do next, and it only makes the world title scene in AEW that much more exciting. Last two questions here. Grunt, I should have put you at the beginning. I put you here at the bottom by accident. But his first question was, can you rank the original 4 AEW pay-per-views from worst to best, Double or Nothing, All Out, Full Gear, and Revolution, based on their current track record of show quality? Could you also do the same for the 4 newer pay-per-views, Forbidden Door, Wrestle Dream, World's End, and Dynasty? That's a good question. Can I rank the 4 original pay-per-views from worst to best? Okay, so of the 4, and you're not saying like, Double or Nothing 2019, just the overall shows and all the installments they have had since 2019. I would probably go All Out as 1. I feel like Double or Nothing has not been that important in recent years. I would probably go All Out 1. Revolution's also been great in the last couple of years. Revolution, you can even make a case for being number one, to be honest. But All Out's also been pretty important most years. I'll go All Out, Revolution, Double or Nothing, Full Gear last. Full Gear always feels the least important of the four. It's like their Survivor Series. Maybe just because of when it happens during the year. But yeah, I'd go All Out, Revolution, Double or Nothing, and then Full Gear. And then for the four newer pay-per-views, Forbidden Door, Wrestle Dream, World's End, and Dynasty. World's End would be last. World's End has not been a consistently great show since they started doing it a few years ago. The other pay-per-views are better. I think Wrestle Dream's been, of the four, the best one. I didn't love Dynasty last year. I would probably go Wrestle Dream. How many Dynasties have they done? I think they've only done 2. So Forbidden Door, there's been more. Forbidden Door doesn't really feel special anymore because they work with New Japan so often, and New Japan just doesn't have a great roster. I would still probably go Wrestle Dream 1, Forbidden Door 2. Dynasty might be 2 at some point once we get more installments. World's End 4, though. I would rank them in that order. And then last question from Noob. I don't know why his name isn't showing up here, but his question was, what are your thoughts on AJ Styles being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame? I say it's the right time. He's been in the WWE for a decade. No, I mentioned it earlier, but I think it's great. Well-deserved. Great moment last night on Raw. Definitely deserved. He's phenomenal, no pun intended. And it was either him or Cena going in this year, and I'm fine with them waiting on Cena. And because he kind of got they kind of gave him his flowers last year. AJ didn't really get his flowers until last night on Raw, so I'm glad he's going in over WrestleMania weekend. I think it's phenomenal and well-deserved. And I said this on Twitter last night, but he might be the first person to be inducted into both the WWE and TNA Hall of Fames in the same calendar year. And it's well-deserved because he's the fucking one of the greatest of all time. So, yeah. I actually was shocked when they did that. I thought there was a chance they could induct him into the Hall of Fame this year. But when Taker came out, I'm thinking, literally, where is this leading? Because he also looked at the stuff on the ground, like at his gloves and shit, and he's like, oh, you're really hanging it up? I'm like, are they really building to one more match for AJ? Not with Taker, but like, where is this going? And then he said the Hall of Fame thing, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. That's awesome. Well-deserved and a great moment to close the show last night. All right. Let's pull back open the chat. Give me 1 second here. Bam, there's the chat. All right. Let me backtrack a little bit here. Madam Web was awful, Nathaniel said. I don't know why we're thinking about making another one. Great question. Yeah, I agree. Great point. No idea. Let's see. Fernando said, Con Air or Face Off? Those Nicolas Cage movies, I have not seen either one. And no, I know Face Off is a good movie. I've just never seen either of them. Nike fans said Cena versus Jericho 08. The matches were fine. They're not my favorite. They were okay. They were good. Jericho JBL Rumble 08. Yeah, that was a good hard-hitting battle, but the non-finish sucked, and they never really followed up on it. So, yeah, I don't love that match. It's good, though. It's fun. Fernando said, if Hangman versus MJF ends in a draw, does it count as a loss? Good question. No, but I mean, I feel like that'd be a cop-out. But is the stipulation not of Hangman, not that he loses, but like if he doesn't win the title, then he can't challenge for it ever again? It depends on how it's worded. So we'll see on Dynamite coming up and how they word it specifically when we find out the official stipulation on Wednesday's Dynamite. And if it's a draw to close the pay-per-view, that'd be pretty fucking lame. Nike fan said, I never understood how JBL owned Shawn Michaels in 2009 when Shawn Michaels was broke. Yeah, the whole idea that Shawn Michaels was broke and that JBL had to buy him was just stupid. It's because the stock market sucked at the time, and they just wanted to do a storyline similar to what The Wrestler did in the 2008 Wrestler movie. That's the only reason why they did that story. And it was just to keep Shawn Michaels busy until what was I going to say? WrestleMania. They didn't want to pay it off at Mania, but they kept them busy with each other until Mania so they could do Shawn and Taker at Mania instead. Cena's IC title win is my favorite Cena win. Oh, there you go. I was there for that. Cena and Shawn Michaels tag team title win. Did you like that? I wasn't watching at the time, so I can't really speak to it, but it was cool. It was a cool moment, but I wasn't really watching, so it's not my favorite. Wrestling Chief #1. I was there at Raw London 08 when they did Orton Regal. Well, that's pretty fucking cool because that's the show that got me into wrestling. So, Wrestling Chief, you were there for history, as they say. For whatever that matters, I guess, as far as I'm concerned. But we wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for that show, and your involvement in that show by being there. So, That's pretty fucking cool. Just the whole England crowd also, and having the phone booth on the stage, which was corny, but I always thought that was cool. So, yeah, that's pretty fucking cool that you were there, though. Fernando said, if Hangman loses at Revolution, but later gets back into the world title picture, though through the Owen Hart Cup, would you be okay with that? No, I've seen that pitched. I think that's just lazy. I mean, what, through the Owen Hart Cup later on? Maybe not the same year. Like if Adam, he already won the Owen Hart Cup last year, so it's not like he's never won it before. I would be okay with that down the road, not this year. Hangman losing to MJF and never being able to challenge for the title again, only to win the Owen Hart Cup for a second time, like a month or two later, to me would be lazy. Not lazy, but it's just not interesting. So down the road, yes. This year, no. Nike fan said, yes, if they start doing not well financially because the tickets are too high and people can't get in the building, TKO is $3 billion in debt. Yeah, I don't think, I understand what your question is in retrospect, but I don't see them being forced to sell the company. I mean, they're not going to, if they sell the company, are they really going to make back what they paid for WWE? Probably not. Johnny said, Bucks versus FTR should be a Texas death match or an I Quit match. Well, not Texas Death if they're doing that for Paige and MJF. It would not be Texas Death. But I Quit? I've never seen an I Quit tag team match. I don't really want to see an I Quit tag team match, but it's something different, I guess. I still prefer Iron Man. Let me backtrack a little bit here. Let's see. John Morrison died from the Chamber ceiling. Yeah, that was a great moment, too. I just rewatched that when I rewatched Chamber of 2011 last week. Great moment from the 2011 Chamber. Nike said, I'm not a fan of Rhea and Io being a tag team after that banger match they had at Evolution 2. They should have fought for each other. They should have fought forever type of feud where they don't align. I understand what you're saying. I don't have an issue with it because they are amazing together too. I see what you're saying as far as they can feud forever one-on-one, but also that gets old after a while. They could switch it up by teaming up once in a while, which they have as a team and they won the tag titles. They have great chemistry as partners. I think that match in Australia last year at Crown Jewel also kind of changed their minds and like, there might be more to this. And they're obviously making a lot of money off of merch for those two. They're super over. It's like if Rock and Austin were tag team. I mean, that's not the exact same thing, but it's a similar comparison, and that would have been crazy too. The backdrops and the steel would always be great, Johnny said in the Chamber. When Rey Mysterio was tossed into the pod by Drew, also 2011, that was a great spot, I agree. Rey Mysterio took some crazy bumps in the Chamber. Yes, he did. Johnny said, All Out and Revolution are tied for me. Yeah, I could see them being tied. All Out 2022 was not good. All Out 2019 was a great show. 2020 was not good. I think that was one of the weakest pay-per-views they've ever done. 2022 was also not good. 2021 was one of the greatest pay-per-views they've ever done. All Out 2023, amazing. All Out 2024, I don't remember, but All Out 2025 last year in Toronto was great. So, Revolution 2020 was amazing. 2021 was really good. 2022 was great. I watched that show in a movie theater, actually. 2023 was very good. 2024 was great. Revolution's pretty underrated, actually. And then last year, what was last year? What did they do last year for Revolution? Oh, yeah, it was Edge and Moxley. I wasn't a good main event. But the rest of the show was very good, though. Grunt said, I'm looking forward to Forbidden Door only so we can see the Knockout Brothers in AEW. Best thing about New Japan, no question, best tag team champions in the world right now. I've heard of them. I have not seen their work. But if they're going to be a Forbidden Door, which I hope they would be if they work with New Japan again, I look forward to seeing what they could do. Grunt said, is Undertaker really going to be the guy that tells people they're going into the Hall of Fame going forward? I mean, it does fit with his character. Pretty much a Grim Reaper, letting them know their career is over and it's time to wrap it up. I thought the exact same thing watching that segment as soon as he said the Hall of Fame thing. He shouldn't do that for everyone because it's going to become obvious after a while what he's out there for. Like, it's obvious now. The AJ one, when he came out, it wasn't obvious in my opinion. But because he has history with AJ. So I thought he might come out, then a bunch of other people might come out. That didn't happen. But yeah. I think that's cool. But he shouldn't do it with everyone. Like if fucking Demolition goes into the Hall of Fame, I mean, they might be seeing a different Grim Reaper at some point, sometime soon. They're on the older side, unfortunately, but you're not going to do that with everyone. because not everyone's going to be on the show in person in order for Taker to break the news to him anyway. Grunt said, I left that all in because I figured that would be too easy to rank number one, by the way. It probably would be number one, so you're right. Eric said, have Grant ask the quarterbacks why none of them wanted to come out this year. I will have Grant ask the question, Eric. Thank you. Fernando said, what if Paramount buys WWE from TKO? What, aren't they busy enough with Netflix right now? And why would Paramount even want WWE anyway? I mean, the fact that TKO bought WWE and not Netflix or NBC or any of the other bigger companies tells you that for as hot as WWE was, even at that point, they're not that hot to justify them being bought by one of these bigger companies. I mean, Raw being on Netflix is great. Will it stay on Netflix? I don't think so. Long term. Basyko said, do you think Julia will be stuck in mid-card if she doesn't switch up the, I don't know how you pronounce that word, but style of moves? No, I think her moves are fine. I just think they need to give her more of a character, more promo time, get her the fuck away from Kiana James. That is not benefiting her at all. They're actually pushing Kiana more than Julia, even though Julia has a belt. But her moves are great. Put her in the ring with more stars. Make her more important. Don't book her like shit against jobbers. So it's not just her moveset that's killing her. It's a lot of things. It's a lack of character, lack of important storylines. The booking sucks. They're not putting her in there with actual stars. Book her like a star, people will see her as a star. And her entrance is great too, but it doesn't feel overly special when she's not booked as anyone special, if that makes sense. What is your favorite Luke Harper singles match? That's a good question. Either him and Dolph at TLC 2014, that ladder match for the IC Championship was awesome. That would probably be number one. Two would be him and Orton at Elimination Chamber. They had a great match at Elimination Chamber that year. I talked about that in my non-chamber match video ranking yesterday here on the channel, but that was an excellent match. In AEW, he faced Jon Moxley. They had a really good match at Double or Nothing. I had no crowd really, so it's not like my favorite match or anything like that, but they had a good match on that show. Yeah, what other singles matches did he even really have? I don't remember. Like, he was on his own in 2014, rejoined the Wyatts in 2015. He was with him in 2016. In 2017, he was with Eric Rowan. He was always kind of within the tag team in WWE. So, yeah, him and Ziggler, TLC 2014, and then him and Orton from Elimination Chamber 2017. $5 Tuesday, what are you watching tonight, Nike said. Tyreek is here, by the way. Tyreek popping up here in the chat at the very end, as he always does. Before we start to wrap it up, he said TKO is selling. No, they're not selling Tyreek. It's a hypothetical situation. I just answered the question, but Tyreek, hope you're doing well. You're always welcome here on the streams. You always just answer the headline question and then you leave. And we miss you, Tyreek. I think you got a basketball player in your profile picture, so I'm sure you're busy right now with March Madness coming up. You're excited for that, I'm sure, but we miss you here in the streams, Tyreek. Hope you're doing well, and I hope to see you in Avengers Doomsday. Anyway, $5 Tuesday, what am I watching tonight? Nothing I'm going to see in theaters. Next Tuesday, if not before Tuesday, I will be seeing Scream 7. I will be seeing that at some point soon, so, keep an eye out for that. I'll do a review of that on Letterboxd at some point, but Scream 7 maybe next Tuesday. I will see Hoppers at some point. Tonight, nothing. If I watch something tonight, it would be something on streaming or whatever. Nothing, no major movies. Oh, shit. I dropped the chat. Let me see. Eric said, All Out 2021 will always be my favorite pay-per-view ever. I mean, in-ring debut for Ruby and Punk's debut for Danielson and Cole. I was at that show. That show was amazing. That will always be one of my favorite pay-per-views as well. I agree. That was like AEW's peak. Daniel said this Kiana slander is uncalled for. Well, it's going to keep coming. Sorry, Daniel. Nike fan said, top 3 favorite Shield matches. Ooh, good question. Them and the Wyatts from Elimination Chamber, 2014. Them and Evolution from Payback. Payback was great. I was thinking Extreme Rules, 2014. And then their debut match against Ryback and Team Hell No from TLC 2012. Those are the top 3 Shield matches, in my opinion. Him and Cody I loved. Him and Cody's feud. Johnny said the same thing. I forgot about that. I'm sorry. Yeah. Brody, that would also be that might be his best singles match ever, to be honest. That was his last match, I think. What's going on? He said, hi, Graham. What's going on? Thanks for joining us here as we are about to wind down. But, yeah, the dog collar match with Brody and Cody was excellent. 5 years ago, over 5 years ago now, which is insane. He is missed. It's a great way for him to go out. It's an excellent match and a good feud, too. The way he won the Team Tag title was fantastic. Just squashing Cody like that, Brock Cena style, was amazing. Nike said, Tyreek is Alexis because she was here earlier and now she's not. That's true. That's still a theory. Still a theory. You asked, what is your favorite all-time year? In wrestling or in general? What is your question? All-time year in wrestling, movies, general? Answer that, and then I'll answer your question. And then give me back shots, Marceau. What a fucking great name. We've said that before. He said, how would you have booked the Shield breakup if it wasn't for Rollins? I would have... I know we talked earlier with the movies, like it's dumb that... that when they milk stuff out until it doesn't make money anymore. Like Toy Story, I said, I get why they continue to make it. Creatively, it's stupid, but like they're going to continue making Toy Story movies because they're going to milk it until that well runs dry. They should have done that with The Shield. The Shield could have had a much longer face run. You could have done the Rollins heel turn. It may not have been as shocking at that point. When they did it, it was super shocking. So at least they had that going forward. I still felt like it was premature. It benefited the product to have Rollins, Roman, and Ambrose on their own as single stars after that. But the Shield deserved a bit of a longer run. Like the fact that the Judgment Day has been going on for like 3 times as long as the Shield is pretty crazy. And I like the Judgment Day, but still. I guess that wasn't the full Shield, Nike said. What wasn't the full Shield? Not TLC. You think of TLC 2017 with fucking Kurt Angle? I'm not talking about that match. I'm talking about the first TLC in-ring debut at TLC 2012 with all of the Shield against Ryback and Team Hell No, not 2017. Because that was not the full Shield. Johnny said Brody had a great impression of Vince McMahon. Yes, he did. He was hilarious on BT. He made that show must see. Brody made BTE must see in like 2020, 2021. I mean, he wasn't in there in 2021, but the BTE in like 2019, 2020 was amazing. Eric said, my only problem, all the Japanese stars, is their Japanese sounds fake. I mean, what is a cock? I don't know what you're saying, Eric. It's not that their Japanese sounds fake. I think in WWE, it's the fact that they have them like scream Japanese and yell, but we know they speak English. And they do subtitles for some of their promos, which is great, and their video packages and shit. But yeah, no, it's just one of those things where the WWE's booking of Japanese stars needs to be studied because they have them like ramble and all this other shit. Asuka's is especially bad because her English is perfectly fine. Julia's English is also perfectly fine, but they don't have her speak like English, or they don't write her promos well. I mean, Julia is also part of the problem, but a lot of it falls on WWE. Freak Like Najit said, do you think Triple H was a draw, or was he just the one that worked with the draw? I know that this is a question that everyone talks about, but it is the answer that everyone gives. Triple H was absolutely the one that worked with the draw. He himself is he a draw or was a draw? Yeah. Was he the draw? No. Was he the guy that worked with the draw, like the Takers and Marceau, Stone Colds and Rocks, and the Cenas and Hogans and shit? Yes. He was absolutely the one that worked with the draw. You said wrestling movies and life as far as what my favorite all-time year is. I don't know. In general, maybe things were pretty chill, I would say, in like 2015, 2017. Overall, I would say. Not everything, but I just feel like in 2015 had some good movies. I might say 2015. 2015 felt like the future because of Back to the Future 2. That was also really exciting. I got to see Back to the Future on a big screen for the first time in 2015. I might go 2015. In wrestling, it's not like WWE was on fire, but Mania 31 was great. I went to my first WWE pay-per-view that year. I was still in college at that point, which was great. So I might go 2015. 2016, I love 2016 in WWE for like the brand split being brought back, among other reasons. 2023, 2024. Also, being able to go to all the shows and work at some of these shows has been cool too. So Yeah, and like for best movies, I mean, there's been great movies in all of these years. 2012 had some great movies, I thought. 2008 had some great movies. 2015 had Avengers, um, and some other movies I really enjoyed as well. So I'd probably go 2015. My answer to that, I guess, for all three, if you combine all three, I would have different answers for wrestling movies and life. I mean, the answer would really just be today. I mean, any day that you wake up and you're here, I guess, is the best day, I would say. It's my opinion, but yeah, I'd probably go 2015 for other just personal reasons and whatnot. Nike fan said, no, I said the Shield versus Cody and Dustin tag titles. That wasn't the full Shield. Oh, okay. If you're including that match, that wasn't a Shield 6-man, but that was one of their best matches, even though it was just 2/3 of the Shield and not all three. Mario's, what's going on, said, what do you think the landscape would look like if Vinnie Mac was still in charge? Which wrestlers do you think would be on top or at least in a better position? Who would be worse off? I mean, that's a video in and of itself. It's a good question. It wouldn't be good. WWE would absolutely be worse off. The creative would be awful. It was awful when he was still in charge a few years ago, before he left full-time. It sucked. Brock would still be being pushed heavily, as would Roman. I'm not even sure Punk would be back. Who else would... I mean, I don't even think Punk would be there. Cody came into the company. I mean, I think Cody would still be in the same spot if Vince was still around, to be honest with you. I think he would still have pushed him in the same way because he was being pushed that way when Vince was still there. Rhea, I'm not sure he would have ever really pushed. He didn't really push her that same way in 2021 when he was there. The Judgment Day would have broken up immediately. I'd have to look at the entire roster. I don't know. The product would be drastically different. I'll tell you that much. A lot of the same people, like I'm not even sure a lot of the people that are there would not even be working there. The Bloodline might still be a thing, but them hiring like fucking JC Mateo, they would not have hired those people. Liv, I mean, Vince had Liv on his roster for years and did nothing with her. Liv would not be a top star. I'm not even sure Stephanie would be working there. Stephanie would not be in the position that she's in. Io Sky. Vince McMahon had zero interest in pushing Io Sky as the main star in the roster. Jade Cargill would probably be there. The entire company would be drastically different. Omos would be pushed more. He'd be on the show more. Rick Boogs may not have been fired. I think the whole company would be drastically different, to be honest with you. Johnny said 2018 for wrestling, 2019 for movies. What is your favorite Triple H nickname? I mean, the game is as simple as it gets, so probably the game. How would Bray Wyatt figure into today's product? He would just be doing a lot of the same stuff with the Wyatt Six. It's not like Triple H booked Bray all that great when Bray had come back to the company. I mean, I don't know if that was Bray's own fault, the creative stuff, but I mean, his LA Knight feud was good, but like the match kind of sucked. And then he was feuding with like fucking Bobby Lashley before he got sick. That wasn't great. Bray would probably be somewhere in the mid card. He'd probably be booked better than he was under Vince. But I think Bray's own ideas, I mean, they would have been doing the Wyatt Six. Bray's idea was eventually to have his own stable. Where the Wyatt Six is now is probably where Bray would be. Not doing awful work, but not being a main event guy. He would probably have not have won another world title. Nor do I think that may have been necessary anyway. Eric said, worst return. Johnny said, for life before social media and online took over. Yeah. Before social media, yeah. I mean, life was pretty simple. I mean, if you want to go back to being a kid, I mean, that's your childhood is also another thing. 05, good year. 06, good year. Anyway, at Yoey Spingucci, what's going on, brother? Again, here I already answered one of his questions, but he said, which injury in history do you think has had the biggest impact on plans going forward? Oh, I don't know. I'm sure there's answers I'm not thinking of. Stone Cold breaking his neck. I mean, that caused him to really change up his entire style, right? So I feel like he still would have been a big star. But I don't know. I feel like that really made a big difference on things. And he probably would have lasted longer in the ring and not have retired when he did in 03. So I'm going to say Stone Cold getting hurt. Because, like, what else is there? You know, like, what other injury changed? I mean, this isn't an injury, but Roman got COVID. And they couldn't do Roman and Brock at day one. And I think I don't know if Brock was going to take the belt from Roman. I mean, I would hope not. But it looked like Brock was going to take the belt from Roman at day one. And if he did, that kind of changed everything. That led to him being champion for 4 years. So that was also a pretty big game-changing pivot. Would Liv be in the position she's in today had Vince never left? No. I mean, Liv was in the same spot for what, fucking 6 years? She won Money in the Bank. She was champion there for a little while when Vince was booking. And that was actually at the very end. He gave Liv the money. That was one of the last things he ever did, was give Liv the Money in the Bank. She would have been a transitional champion for Ronda Rousey. Ronda didn't get the belt back until later on, but she would have been champion a lot quicker than she was if Vince was still there. He never believed in Liv as a top star, and she wasn't even really ready at that point, but he never really featured her at that level either. Nike said Theory would have been cashed in successfully and would be world champion if Vince was still in charge. Yeah, Theory would absolutely be in a better spot and would have been in a better spot by now had Vince not left. That's definitely Triple H's blunder. Yoey Spangucci said, do you think Cena would have still been in the same cookie-cutter babyface if not for Benoit? Like, would he have still been a cookie-cutter babyface if Benoit didn't happen? No. Cena's character, what is the... Like, what similarities are you drawing there? Like, because the Benoit thing happened, they went PG. I think the PG thing was going to be inevitable anyway. Vince saw money there. They went PG. It's not like Cena was this aggressive, great, cutting-edge babyface, and then the Benoit thing happened. Then he was all, like, talking about poop and stuff like he was in 08. It wasn't that sudden. I don't think Benoit had any effect on Cena's character on the show. Cena was already getting fucking booed and was already the top, over-the-top, happy-go-lucky good guy by 07. Not as much as he was in 08, but I don't really think Benoit had much to do with that. Nike fan said, would we still have my guy Omos in WWE TV? Shout out to Omos. Yes, Omos would absolutely still be on TV if Vince was around. Johnny said, AW stars that came to WWE would not have been pushed. Most of them, yeah. Cody would have been pushed, I think, regardless. Vince proved that when he brought Cody back and pushed him against Rollins and had him beat him on 3 consecutive pay-per-views. Who else? Who else is coming from AEW? I think Jade, still would have been pushed, like I explained. Ricky Starks, he probably would not have hired, and if he did, he would not have been pushed on the main roster. Vince would not have hired the Lucha Bros. Absolutely not. Would he have brought back Aleister Black? Rusev, maybe. Black, probably not. I don't think so. He fired them for a reason, so probably not. I think a lot of the people that came in from AEW would not be on the show right now. Andrade, I'm not sure Andrade would have come back had Vince still been in charge. I wouldn't blame him. Nor for any push that Andrade did get during his second run in WWE, it would have been even worse if Vince was still in charge. Rick Boogs, I enjoyed Rick Boogs. He wasn't awesome. I liked him in NXT. In the main roster, he just never really clicked for me. He had a certain role, but then once Triple H took over, he was like, I don't give a fuck about this guy. I have no use for him. And then he was gone. He had a limited shelf life. Rick Boogs was basically like the new Elijah, the new Elias. And they even teamed up at one point, and then they never really did much more with it. Eric said, I'm sorry to ask. I meant to ask, what return to you is the worst? There's a lot of bad returns. Grandmaster Sexay in 2011 was a pretty bad return. No one gave a fuck about that. I'm sure there's a lot. There's a lot of bad returns. That's the one that stands out to me as being one of the worst of all time. Yes, Daniel, pivot indeed. Chris said, how do you think Bianca, Chris Fatplander that is, how do you think Bianca would have been booked heel? I'm sorry, not Bianca. You wrote Vince. You meant Vince. How do you think Vince would have booked heel Roman in 2017 after beating Taker? I think he would have booked him well, but he didn't turn him heel. It's not like Triple H was in charge at that point. That was the Vince call to not turn Roman. If he did turn Roman, I think it would have worked out because Roman was so hated. Heel Roman was better in 2020 with the storyline stuff they had him doing then. But they could have done that stuff years earlier had they done it a few years earlier and not in 2020. They could have really... got more out of heel Roman. They could have gotten more out of heel Roman for longer had they done it a few years earlier. Chris Fatplander, do I think Naomi will be the same? Will be able to recapture her momentum when she comes back? I think it's possible. Do I think she definitely will? I don't know. The system moves on. It's going to, she might be able to recapture that momentum. I think she can because Naomi was great as a heel before she left. But it's going to be tough because the landscape is ever changing and people might move on by that point. Nike fan said, if WWE didn't go PG, Do you think Cena would have turned heel earlier in his career? Good question. I don't think so. It would increase the chances of him turning heel, but I don't think so. I think eventually, I think Vince was always hesitant because he always made so much money. Let's see. Chris Fatplander, what were your thoughts on Sheamus's racist rants back in the day? I think you sent this in last week. I didn't get to it because the show ended. You have to point to me again what racist rants Sheamus made. The one about Gunther was actually pretty fucking funny. If that's the tweet you're talking about. What other racist things did he do? If you're talking about the Gunther thing, that actually was pretty fucking funny. If there was something else, let me know because I may not be aware of it or I just don't remember. Eric said Andrade may have come back just for Charlotte. Yeah, maybe, but he probably would have known that he wasn't going to get beyond a certain level, even less so than he did when he came back under Triple H. But yeah, Andrade may have come back for Charlotte, but that's really about it. What's your thing about doing this weekly show? What's your favorite thing about doing this weekly show, he said. The interaction with you guys is always amazing, so that's always my favorite aspect of it for sure. Mamadou said, how did Elias go from getting decent reactions to how it got in the end? Because Elias always had a shelf life. Elias was great. I liked Elias. He's a great character. He didn't fit in Triple H's WWE, first of all. Elias was always entertaining. He exceeded expectations far more than anyone ever expected him to on the main roster because his NXT run was basically non-existent. But in the end, I mean, what more? People were so mad when Elias got fired. And I was like, but what more would you have done with them? Like the Zeke stuff was great, but even that had a shelf life. Like he was only ever going to be around for so long. Santino also had a shelf life. Like R-Truth is a fucking once-in-a-lifetime superstar. Because his comedy shtick is also a shorter shelf life, but R-Truth is just so beloved. I mean, Santino is beloved too, but Truth is just on another level. Truth is someone that you can keep around forever in that role, and people will never get sick of him. Elias, it's just like there was only so much you could do between turning him face and heel and then trying to push him seriously. He got good reactions, but he was a guy with a fucking guitar. He was always ever going to be mid-card at best. He was never going to be a world champion. And now he just has a fresh change of scenery in TNA, and he's been doing really well over there. Nick, what's going on, brother? He said, sorry if this was asked, but I need your thoughts. Do you think AJ Styles' farewell last night was only done as a result of the internet being angry that Styles' last match was in Saudi? Thank you, sir. Love your work. Love you, Nick. Thank you. No, I think that was always the plan. I think the plan was always to have him retire on the same show that he debuted at 10 years earlier. The fact it was in Saudi sucked, but if it was up to AJ, he would not have wanted to be in Saudi, but he himself cannot change that. I think the idea was always, even when he retired, it was always announced that they had a Raw in Atlanta coming up. I figured they would wait until that Raw to do what they did. It was weird they didn't have him on Raw after the Rumble or to cut a promo or to have the wrestlers come out and clap for him. But then when they didn't do it then, I'm thinking he's either gone and his contract expired, which wasn't the case, or two, they're going to wait until Raw in Atlanta, which is exactly what they did. And I'm glad they did because they can kind of make the show about him as opposed to just doing one random promo. Not a random promo, but a quick segment on Raw. After the Rumble, Gunther interrupts, and that's it. So, no, I think what they did last night was always the plan. What is my favorite Sheamus Celtic Warrior workout? I don't really watch him, but I've seen a bunch of them. I don't know. What is my favorite Celtic Warrior workout? I know he did one with Sol Ruka recently. I saw clips from the Punk one. I've watched maybe one or two. I don't remember, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I have one specific favorite episode. I don't watch it regularly. Nike fan said, how would you book Manias with the pieces WWE has now? Or how would you book Mania? I have no idea. I'm not going to sit here and book out a Mania card, but they have some fucking work to do because I genuinely think they don't have the card completed. Maybe they do, and they're doing a good job of hiding it, but I think they're just figuring it out as they go along, which can sometimes be a good thing, and most of the time it just seems like a fucking mess. So they got to figure that shit out for sure. Let's see. Do you think they ever will get rid of these old heads like Hayes, Pritchard, and Man, and Road Dogg? I think eventually they'll have to. Especially if the creative continues to get worse. They're gonna have to find a scapegoat for something. They will not get rid of them soon because it's like we will rather address the issue in other ways than get rid of these people that probably should have been gone a long time ago. Eventually, yes. Right now, probably not. Johnny said, rank these WWE pay-per-view names. I did do a video on ranking pay-per-view names, by the way, last year on WrestleRant. Ranks G Plug, check it out. He said, No Way Out, No Mercy, Judgment Day, Fully Loaded. I'm going No Mercy 1. Fully Loaded is last. I never really liked the Fully Loaded name, personally. Just my opinion. No Mercy 1, Judgment Day 2, No Way Out 3, Fully Loaded 4. That's how I would rank them, from best to worst. But Fully Loaded's fine. I just think the other ones are better. Eric said, why do you think WWE never circled back to Finn after the one-day Universal title win? Because he was never going to be a main event guy. Vince never saw him as a main event guy for that show. The only reason why he was booked to win the title when he did was because they were starting a new era and they wanted to send the message, hey, here's some new talent. But like Owens won the belt right after Finn vacated it. Owens never held the belt again because after that shit was over, they didn't see Owens as a main event star. Now it's too late, and I love Owens, but he really should have been a perennial main eventer fucking 10 years ago. Finn, same thing. It's because Vince never saw him on that level. And they gave him title shots after that, but he never won. So even Triple H, like Finn is in the same, less so than Owens, I think, is a more of a main eventer than Finn. But Finn, the damage had been done so much, like you're not going to get back to Finn being a perennial main event player. The guy's 45 years old or some shit. Like he's not going to be a main event guy that you build around for the next 10 years. He's already been around for a decade. I mean, that window is gone. But that's why they never went back to it, because he just didn't see him as the guy. Grunt asked, do you see Buddy Matthews joining forces with Brody and Bandito? Brody Lee, that is, I think. Or not Brody Lee, fucking Brody King. You spelled Brody like Brody Lee. That's why I was confused. Do I see Buddy Matthews joining with them, or do I think he'll go his own way, or will he brought into the ops? I hope he doesn't join the ops. I think that's just a waste. I mean, push him on his own. I would like to see him with Bandito and Brody King would be cool. I think it'd be better if he just turned on him. And then you can do Brody King versus Buddy Matthews. Buddy Matthews, for his entire time in AEW, has always been a part of House of Black or with Brody King as a tag team. He has never been positioned as a single star consistently. I think this would be a nice chance to kind of break him off on his own and see how he does. So the ops would be the worst option. Magic Plumayer asked, Graham, I know you train MMA. Yes, that is correct. Have you ever had to use your skills in real life? In a serious situation? No, thankfully not. I've never been, I don't want to jinx it, but I've never been fucking attacked or anything in a fucking alleyway. I tend to be smarter with that than to put myself in a position where that would happen. But, I mean, I've used the skills in real life, but not in stuff on where it's like I got in a fight in school or I was attacked somewhere or something like that. God forbid that hasn't happened, thankfully, but in that context, no. I have had to use them, but not in the way that you would think, like, oh, I got fucking beat up. Thankfully, that hasn't happened. Magic Plumayer also asked, how do you feel about champions not really wrestling on the weekly shows? I think there's a case to be made that it's fine because you want to make them feel more special. But if they're out there just cutting promos every week and it's the same shit, then, I mean, you don't want them wrestling every week. But I think they should wrestle more than they do. I think there's a happy medium there. Grunt also has thoughts on Styles saying WrestleMania has lost a bit of its luster. He's right. And I fucking laughed when I saw him say that because I'm thinking he knows they can do nothing to him now. He already fucking retired. He's already in the Hall of Fame. AJ Styles was like, fuck it. I'm going to say whatever I want. And that's not really that big of a deal what he said, but he's right. Like if he was being booked on the show weekly, no chance he says that. He's not CM Punk. He can't. You know, CM Punk and maybe Roman are a few of the only people that can shit on the current creative and not be punished for it. Styles probably would have been, but he's done now, so he doesn't give a shit, which I can applaud and respect. Johnny said, better match, Gunther versus Ilya or Gunther versus Sheamus? Good question. Gunther and Ilya. Specifically, the last one they had in NXT. Gunther and Sheamus had a better crowd because there were more people. Both matches are excellent, but I'm going to go Gunther and Ilya from NXT. Plumayer asked, who do you think Austin would have feuded with in 98-99 if not McMahon? I don't know. Who was around in 98-99? Kane? Fucking, I don't know. Probably Kane. I mean, he did feud with Kane, but he probably would have feuded more with Kane. Kane, Mick Foley, Rock. I mean, it would have been all the same people. The McMahon feud took him to that next level. He just wouldn't have been, he would have had all the same feuds, but it just wouldn't have been as big of a deal. He wouldn't have been the same level of superstar that he ended up becoming. Randy, what's going on, brother? He said Graham Matthews is the GOAT. At Cruise Control Podcast Network, of course. Go check him out. He does great content. He was here on the show a week or two ago, so go check out that episode while you're at it as well. Eric said, thoughts on Aaliyah Mysterio starting to train? Good for her. Hope she's dedicated and actually sticks with it, unlike David Benoit. But, Dominic broke in and did well, so hopefully Aaliyah can too. Good for her. Randy Cruz, also a GOAT. I agree, Daniel. Give me backshots. Marceau says, does Austin still get to be where he is without Austin 316? Yes, I do think he does. Although that promo will forever be seen. Because it's not like he cut that, we've talked about this before, but it's not like he cut that promo and he was automatically main events. He was on the fucking pre-show at SummerSlam that year, like 2 months later. So, yes, I still think he would have become a big star. Johnny said you should do a tier list for NXT takeovers from the black and gold era. Good idea. I definitely will, and I definitely should at some point. Do I think they're setting up a Rhea heel turn? Give me backshots, Marceau asked. No, I don't think they will. She will be a heel again eventually. I don't think we're anywhere near that point. Ever lost a fight in real life? I don't get many fucking fights, so I guess the answer is no. I was not the type of person in high school or at any point to be getting in fights, so no, never lost a fight. Can't lose a fight if you're not in them, so we'll keep that, we'll say the answer is no. Triple H going to rescind the Hall of Fame invitation. Imagine so. Imagine if they're like, imagine AJ's like, yeah, WrestleMania is not the same. It's not, it lost a little bit of its luster, blah, blah, blah. And then he's still in the Hall of Fame, obviously, but they're like, you know what, AJ, because you said that, we're going to keep you in the Hall of Fame, but we're going to have you go on first, and we're going to close the evening with my fucking wife instead. That would not shock me, especially with his wife going in this year. Let's see. Do I wish AJ Styles joined WWE earlier? Yes. He ended up having a great 10-year run, but I wish he had gone there. I mean, the thing is, had he gone there any earlier, would he have been booked well? In 2014, 2015, would Vince have booked him as a big star? I don't know. I feel like the Japan run really was what made him a big star in WWE, not just the TNA stuff. If he had gone there straight after TNA, that would have been great. But I feel like they would have booked him like shit. They would have booked him like mid-card AJ in TNA, not the once-in-a-lifetime performer that he was in New Japan. Johnny said, Undertaker never had classics with Stone Cold or Rock, just good to great matches. I agree. Give me backshots. Marceau said, why do you think Yokozuna only had one world title run? You're wrong. He actually had two. He won it at Mania, lost it that same fucking night, and then he won it back a little while later. Like an actual run, sure. Yeah, so I guess one real run. Why do I think he only had one run? Because he wasn't that good. I mean, I think Yokozuna was a great character, but Yokozuna was not out there having great matches, cutting great promos. It was very limited. Super limited. And it was a character. They wanted to build up the evil foreigner, blah, 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 blah. Yokozuna was only, like he was the Jinder Mahal run. He was only ever built up to be knocked down, and that's it. He was not someone that you were going to keep in the main event picture forever, because after he dropped the belt, that was it. He did the tag team shit. He put on a bunch of fucking pounds. He was fat as shit. Yokozuna was never going to be someone that you should have put the belt on. As long as they did, it was long enough. Let's put it that way. Randy said, Austin Taker SummerSlam 98 Highway to Hell is classic. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a great match. So I guess Johnny's probably wrong, because that is people remember that match and the advertising and the theming around it and shit like that. Chris Faplander, if you didn't have a co-host, would you still do WrestleRant Radio? Yes. So I started doing the show without a co-host in 2013. RJ did not join until like 4 or 5 months in. We did the show for the next 2 years together while we were in college. He graduated. I still did the show by myself. There were periods after he graduated and after I graduated where I did the show by myself. And he would come on occasionally, and sometimes he'd do it for a couple weeks or once a month or whatever for like the pay-per-view predictions and shit. And then during COVID, since we had more time and shit, he started joining me weekly, and he's been joining me weekly ever since. And I'm grateful for that. So, but if he wasn't, Mr. Marceau helps make the show, obviously. But if he all of a sudden had another commitment, or he didn't want to do it anymore, or whatever, or he couldn't do it anymore, I would still do the show. Even if it was just on my own, because I've done a lot of my own content by myself for the last, 16 years. Do I miss the WWE post-show media scrums? No, I don't, because a lot of them were uneventful. Some of them were so bad it was funny. I miss being a part of them and being able to ask actual questions and not to be on fucking TV. No, I liked being able to ask actual questions and not, stupid shit that people would inevitably ask, which is why I got in part why I got canceled in the first place, because people would just ask nonsensical questions that made the rest of us look bad. So the media scrums themselves, I don't miss. It's not like I watch the AEW ones consistently. The WWE ones I only liked because I got to ask questions I wanted to know the answer to. That's about it. I don't miss them otherwise. Who do you think will win in the cage match? Sully from Monsters, Inc. or Kronk? I'm actually in the middle of watching Emperor's New School right now, so it's a timely question. I will go Kronk. He was on the wrestling team, I'm pretty sure. Sully, I feel like probably was as well, although they didn't cover that in Monsters University, so I'm going to go Kronk. Good question, though, Nick. Grunt said MJF versus Kevin Steen is the match I need now. Thanks, Max. Yeah, MJF mentioned that in an interview, and that would be a fucking awesome match, specifically in AEW. In WWE, it would be good, but with the handcuffs off on the promos, Kevin Steen, I mean, he's still great now, but like in his prime versus MJF now would be awesome, specifically for the promos. That's like a Ring of Honor match in 2015 or 2013 or some shit. Eric said, do you think Naomi and Dakota Kai would have come back if Vince was still around? No, I don't. I think Naomi largely left because of Vince. Naomi probably would have been back eventually. Dakota Kai, they would not have brought back. She would have stayed fired. What is your favorite WrestleMania main event? Roman and Cody from WrestleMania 40, because I was there. There's other great ones, but that's my favorite one. Richie said, 24-hour stream today? We will see. There's so much activity here in the chat, which I appreciate, guys. If you haven't already, please like the video. If I see the likes are lacking, I'm going to blame you guys. There's so many people here in the chat, and there have been so many people here in the last 3 hours. We should be higher up in the likes, so please like the video. It would mean a lot, but no 24-hour stream. I got to go into a meeting pretty soon, actually. Eric said, how did you and Mr. Marceau become friends? Long story short, I can get into this on a different video or a different time when we have more time, but basically, we went to college together. He was a year above me, but someone that I was in a class with saw or heard me pitching a WWE blog or a wrestling-related blog in a writing class that I was taking, and he came up to me afterward and said, hey, like my roommate's into wrestling, you should meet him. I'm like, okay. And I met him at dinner one night, and we had one of the shortest conversations ever, and he kind of felt like he hated me, and I'm like, the fuck, okay. And then I asked him if he wanted to come on my radio show, and he said, yeah. Came on the show, went well, it was fine, whatever. And then he came back. I did not ask him to come on the show weekly. I've told this story before, but he just kept coming back. I wasn't like, hey, come back to do the show next week. I thought it would just be a one and done thing. He showed up the next week. I'm like, oh, okay. I guess we're going to make this a weekly thing. And we've been friends ever since. Johnny said, it's hilarious and fun to see what the fans chant during Triple H at the post show. Yeah, that shit's fucking funny. So, I mean, they get what they deserve on that shit. Sometimes when they're saying, oh, bring back Vince, like that's fucking ridiculous. But, it is funny to see him sweat in real time. Eric said, like the guy who asked Io if she wanted to face Taylor Swift. I know that guy, and I can tell you, I mean, he asks better questions now, but it was a stupid thing to ask at the time. And he still gets shit to it. He still gets shit for it to this day. That was a fucking embarrassing question. I agree. Any upcoming interviews? WWE interviews on the road to WrestleMania? Yeah, probably, especially if I'm going to Mania. I'm not going to tell you who, because I have no idea. If I go to Mania, you'll definitely get a few interviews here on the channel at some point. I also have to be able to upload them and all this other shit. It's a timing thing. Sometimes I can only put up the article version and whatnot. But anyway, yes, hopefully when I'm at Mania, we'll be doing a lot more content. But I also just did an interview with a non-wrestler, an athlete, actually a football player. Not a football player, a soccer player. The football is what it should be called, but I did a random interview with a football/soccer player. So for you soccer/football fans, that one's for you, and that should be up pretty soon as well. But check out, in the meantime, I talked to Jack Hughes a couple of weeks ago. Interview went up on Bleacher Report. He just literally won the Olympic gold medalist for Team USA, the Olympic gold medal in hockey for men's hockey this past weekend. Very fun interview, and that went up in article form recently on BR. So check that out when you get a chance. Just type up Jack Hughes Bleacher Report, and you'll find the article from recently that I conducted. Bro, KO better win the WWE title when he returns. He will not, but that would be awesome. Nike fan said, RJ said, this is our podcast now, LOL. Yeah, pretty much. And I was like, okay, cool. I would enjoy having a co-host anyway. And it took us some time to find our chemistry, I think, as friends slash partners or slash co-hosts on the show. It's not like we had this amazing chemistry from the get-go. You check out those early episodes of the show. It's not great. They're not good at all. But and I take, I mean, a lot of that's my own fault. But yeah, no, we just started doing it weekly, and we found our rhythm after a while, and it became a lot of fun to record weekly on Tuesday nights. That's originally when we did the show, live on Tuesdays in our college radio network. Johnny said, who do you think is the most successful Japanese wrestler today and all time in WWE? All time legit might be Asuka. I mean, Shinsuke you could say, but I mean, Shinsuke never really reached that next level. You can kind of say the same for Asuka, but Asuka's so fucking successful. I think today and all time would probably be Asuka in WWE. Yeah. So keep an eye out for anyone else. I mean, I'll keep an eye out for any answers there, but yeah, they would probably have to be Asuka, because who else would it even be? I mean, Nakamura's had a lot of success, Royal Rumble winner. Yokozuna was not Japanese. I know that was his character, but Io Sky's up there. I mean, Io Sky's amazing. She's not the most successful yet. She might be the best they've ever had. Most successful is easily Asuka. Johnny said, back to earlier, Kill Bill 2 is a classic. Never seen it, but I've heard it's a classic. I have not seen most Tarantino movies. But anyway. Lindsay, what's going on? She said, he's moving into other sports. Okay, we see you. Appreciate that, Lindsay. I'll tell you guys more about it when I see you on, we'll be seeing you Saturday. We actually set up our Elimination Chamber date for Saturday. Watch along party going on Saturday. We'll be watching it with you and Nick and the rest of the gang. And I say the rest of the gang, it's just us four. But yeah, we'll be watching it at your place on Saturday. We look forward to it. And Eric said, who's your favorite foreign wrestler? I don't know. Io Sky? I don't look at wrestlers as, oh, they're foreign, they're my favorite. Like, what does that even, like, I know what foreign means, but I guess we'll go with Io Sky because she's Japanese, but I don't really label wrestlers on, like, oh, yeah, my favorite Asian wrestler, my favorite, foreign wrestler. I don't know. It's probably Io Sky because she's amazing. So we'll wrap it up there. Why do you think Vince was so heavy on the stereotypes? Chris said, because he was a fucking old white man that was set in his ways. Super Republican. I mean, come on. You look at Vince and who he voted for, who he's friends with, what he did. Are we really surprised? He was sexist, misogynist, racist. I mean, I think he was definitely more sexist than racist, but I mean, you can make a case for any of that shit. He's fucking old and stuck in his ways and not willing to, adapt his mindset. You could do a whole video on that. Madman of a man. Eric said, who should retire? Rey Mysterio, Dominic or Gunther? Dominic. Gunther's retired enough people. Gunther would be fine, but Dominic has more history with Rey. And Rey's not retiring this year. It might be next year. But I would go definitely Dom, for sure. It's his own fucking son. Chris Faplander said, how do you think Benoit factors in 08 and beyond if he was around? Not very high. I feel like Benoit probably would have been done in like 08 through 2010 anyway. He was already older. I mean, Benoit was how old? Let's look it up. Chris Benoit. When did he... Oh, I know when he died. He was born in 67. He died in 07. Was he 40? He was 40, right? Yeah, he just turned 40. So I don't think he would have been wrestling, especially if they moved on into the youth movement and shit. He would not have been wrestling for that much longer. I mean, he was on they drafted him to ECW in 2007. He probably just would have been on ECW in 08 as well. They would have wrapped up. If he didn't do what he did, he would have been in the Hall of Fame by now, obviously. And he probably would have retired, I'd say in 09, 2010. Benoit in the PG era? Yeah, no fucking chance. He would have been like, fuck this, I'm going to Japan. If he was still around and not a piece of shit. But we will wrap it up there, guys. We will wrap it up there. Thank you so much for joining us. This was a great episode. A lot of activity. We had a lot of movie talk earlier. I'll have to talk more about about that with Alexis later. Wish me luck. In all seriousness, though, this has been a lot of fun. Appreciate you guys joining us. Be sure to like the video on your way out and subscribe if you haven't already. All that stuff is greatly appreciated. Shout out to the channel members. Alexis, Miss Mud Matthews, speaking of whom, Dillon, DiGiacomo, Mrs. Renee, Daniel Malcolm, at I'm Quarter on X. DJ Swerve1 at Swerve1 on IG. Mr. Marceau at RJ_Marceau on X. John Ritland, Real Honesty with John Ritland on YouTube. Richie Red Planet Wrestling on YouTube. And Average Grunt at GruntWrestling.bluesky on .social on Blue Sky. All the support greatly appreciated. More information on how to become a WrestleRant All Access Pass channel member down below. A lot of content going up in the last couple days. We had my review of the AEW book. This book is all elite. Went up on Sunday. WrestleRant Ranks episode went up yesterday, ranking non-Elimination Chamber matches at Elimination Chamber. Hashtag AskGSM here today. Thursday, big episode of Mr. Marceau coming up of WrestleRant Radio. When we're going live, not sure, but sometime on Thursday, talking the worst Raw of the year, how we're feeling on the road to WrestleMania, the Bronson Reed injury, the AJ Styles news, and Elimination Chamber predictions, and anything else that comes out between now and then. We're talking on Thursday with Mr. Marceau. So speak of the devil, he will be here on Thursday, so stay tuned for that. Like I said, like the video, turn on notifications to be notified every time we're live here on the channel and every time we upload new content. And last but not least, if you want to send in a question to this very show for future episodes, tweet me on the Twitter machine at WrestleRant with the hashtag AskGSM. Find me on Facebook as well, facebook.com/Graham.gsm.Matthews. Drop a comment on the post I usually put up on Monday nights, if not on the wall itself. And last but certainly not least, drop your question down below in the comment section on this very video. I'll include your question in next week's edition. So let me just make sure I got everything here. Daniel said, considering how advanced his brain was... Hold on, I dropped the chat. Considering how advanced his brain was, there's a chance Benoit might not have been around anyway. Yeah, with the Alzheimer's and shit? Yeah. Probably, you're definitely right. Lindsay said, bye, Graham. See you Saturday. We look forward to it, Lindsay. We can't wait to see you guys again for the first time since the Rumble on Saturday. Again, PF Chang's. We're fucking psyched. Highlight of our week. She liked the video. Appreciate that. And she said, WWW in the chat. A lot of W's in the chat. Thanks, Lindsay. And Nike said, W in the chat. Great episode. Thank you, Nike. Thank you for being here. I was actually here for this one. Indeed. Yeah, a lot of people were. We had a lot of people in the chat. Thank you to every single person that chatted in throughout the 3 hours. This is a fucking long one. Got to get going here. But have an awesome one, folks. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. Enjoy the rest of your week. Stay warm if you were here in the Northeast. Fuck the snow, man. There's way too much fucking snow. Completely ridiculous. We'll be right back here on Thursday for WrestleRant Radio. Until then, guys, I'm Graham GSM Matthews. I'll catch your ass down the road. And Pedro said, and call Undertaker Mr. McCool. No idea what that's in reference to, but sure. Undertaker is indeed Mr. McCool. You're not technically wrong. Anyway, guys, take care. I'm Graham GSM Matthews. I'll catch your ass down the road.